Hello then and welcome to the Kia Oval on this balmy Sunday evening as the group stage of the T20 Vitality Blast reaches its conclusion, and it is all to play for here in South London. Essex are the visitors, Surrey the hosts of course, and it's all up for grabs here with just two fixtures left to complete in the whole of the group stages, including this one. By 10 p.m. tonight we will know the full quarter-final lineup, with the games to be played on Wednesday afternoon / evening. If Surrey win, it's very straightforward. They will top the South Group and secure a home quarter-final. Essex, in the event of a defeat for them, would go home because of results elsewhere. If Essex win, however, they will finish third in the South Group and end as one of the two best third-placed sides, therefore securing an away quarter-final. So it is all to play for. With a Surrey defeat, by the way, they will still qualify, but will be hitting the road for an away quarter-final. So they are the permutations for you. The other piece of immediate news, Essex have won the toss and have chosen to bowl. So they will be chasing later on as the lights take effect here on Sunday evening here. It's a beautiful night as well. The crowd has enjoyed themselves this afternoon for the earlier women's game, and they are filling out now with about 10, maybe 8 minutes to go until that first ball. We'll bring you all the team news in a moment, but first, Surrey's left armer, Rhys Topley, a man in form really, 19 wickets already in the competition, is chatting with Sam Keir.
Bowler Rhys Topley. Rhys, thanks for joining us. 19 wickets in the campaign for you. Things going really well for the team. How much do you personally enjoy the campaign?
Yeah, I think I said it before, it's nice to sort of be in one place for a while. Years of my life, so I'm not really now. Yeah, it's nice to sort of be in one place and get some wins, and obviously we know what work we've done so far and what today holds, and we need to get back to that.
Yeah, of course, talking of today, a win of course guarantees that home quarter-final, I believe, and so a lot riding on it. You're through to the quarter-finals, but it'd be great to play here on Wednesday, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. We love playing here in front of the fans at the Kia Oval. You just want to keep the momentum going, to be honest. You don't want to cash in your chips just yet, so today's a big game for us, and also the visiting team, so it's a lot to play for today.
A bit like the women earlier, going into these knockout stages, feels like things are coming together really nicely. Sometimes you see teams who started really strong, slightly stumble, and then they've lost that momentum. But you guys, I think, 4 wins out of 5 since that restart. That momentum, as you've mentioned, so important going into knockouts, and of course people putting in performances. We had J. Roy, Josh has been such a great addition, yourselves, all through the card.
Yeah, and obviously we lost some people to international duty as well, so I think it's nice that people have had the chance to bat in some positions that they'll be needed on Wednesday if we get there. So yeah, it's all coming together at the business end of the tournament, and yeah, we've got a lot on our plate today first, and hopefully we just get the win today.
We mentioned J. Roy, just a word for him. Obviously an emotional night for him, as he said himself on Wednesday with that incredible 100. What's he been like since then, and how good is it to see him striking the ball so nicely, scoring these runs in this recent block?
Yeah, no, it was always sort of around the corner. You felt with Jace, he was hitting the ball so nicely all tournament. He got off to a flyer that game at Lancs, and then the last 2 games where he's got some big runs, which has been terrific to watch, and much needed for the team. So whenever you get Jason in a flow like that, I think he adds anything to whatever team he's in.
And obviously a crowd favourite, he always lifts the crowd here when he's doing well, as do you as well. Just finally for Essex, obviously your old team, they've got a lot riding on tonight. A win for them sees them get a quarter-final spot, so this is by no means a dead rubber. There's a lot riding on this.
No, absolutely, and that's the sort of game that you want to play in, where there's a lot on for both sides. You get a sort of a preview of knockout cricket in a way, so I want to take a forward step today into the battle and hopefully come out on the right side.
Lovely stuff, looking forward to it. Thank you so much, Rhys.
Thanks to Sam and to Rhys. We'll be seeing him later in the piece. One of the key bowlers, of course, for Surrey. Just running through the 11s then, briefly, with just a couple of minutes to go until we all get going here. Surrey first, Jason Roy and Laurie Evans. We will see them getting going. Surrey batting first here, having been inserted by Essex, who won the toss. Josh Philippe down at 3, Dan Lawrence form man at 4. Ollie Pope, skippering, of course, and keeping wicket in this side at 5. Tom Curran, Jordan Clark, Tom Laws, a solid lower middle order. And then the bowling all-rounders, Sean Abbott and Chris Jordan, and then Reece Topley, who will be appreciative of acknowledging that he is a bowler first, foremost, and absolutely. So there you go. Surrey's 11. Roy Evans, Philippe, Lawrence, Pope, Curran, Clark, Laws, Sean Abbott, Chris Jordan, Reece Topley. Essex's side has undertaken various different changes across their campaign. It's been a very uneven campaign for Essex. They started very slowly, then hit their straps in the middle part of the campaign, and they are rather spluttering to the end. But as we say, a win for them tonight gets them into the quarter-finals. Their lineup: Paul Walter now ensconced at the top in all forms. Michael Pepper, explosive keeper bat. He will be opening up later on with Walter. Jordan Cox, key man for Essex, and he is in at first drop. And Charlie Allison, talented young player, in at 4. Luke Benkenstein, very, very useful leg spinning all-rounder, at 5. Another homegrown player that Essex have great hopes for. Matt Critchley, leg spinning all-rounder, at 6. Simon Harmer, the skipper, who runs this side with real class, and of course he's one of the world's best finger spinners. He's down at 7. Noah Thane, another bowling all-rounder, and then Shane Snater. Sam Cook, who is now back and fit, picked up an injury at the end of May, but this is his 4th T20 game for Essex this year, and he's already well in the wickets. Who could forget his 4 for 7 to get Essex's campaign really up and running against Sussex a couple of weeks back. So he is the key man really, and we'll be seeing Essex with the ball immediately. And I fancy Charlie Bennett as well, one to keep an eye out for. Tall and rangy and young, and perhaps a little bit raw, but he's got good components and has broken through into this first team this year for Essex. So Walter, Pepper, Cox, Charlie Allison, Luke Benkenstein, Critchley, Harmer, Noah Thane, Snater, Cook and Bennett. Joining us then this evening, Yas Rana and Alistair Brown. Good evening, chaps. Alistair, first of all, this feels like a hinge point really in Surrey's season. Get this done, top of the group, and then they can look forward to a home quarter-final, and then it could all open up for them.
Yeah, they've come in the last few games. They've come in with great momentum. It's great to see Jason Roy up front and playing very well the last couple of games. He's been in sensational nick. I really like Laurie Evans being up there with him, actually. When you have two explosive openers, it just allows each other to sort of play with a bit of freedom. So it's not like one is rotating the strike. I think they played very well down at Kent. I think Laurie got 4 sixes in his brief knock, but that's got the run rate up, which has put Surrey in a great position. And tonight is a little bit of a freebie, but I think they come in good form. Their record against Essex in the last few games at the Oval is poor. They've lost the last 3, but I think just the last few games for Surrey, they've won with good momentum and they're playing with confidence, and that augurs well.
Yes, Ali says that it's a bit of a free hit for Surrey, but they will be desperate for that home quarter-final.
Yeah, getting that home quarter-final does not guarantee you success, as Surrey found out last year here in the Ravi Bopara game against Northants, where he scored that sensational 100 to get Northants through to finals day. But it makes a big deal. Surrey have got a really good rhythm to their cricket at the moment. They feels like they've got a structure. They're unchanged again today. It feels like everyone knows their roles, even without the all-round England all-rounders in Will Jackson, Sam Curran. They're still able to field a side that bats really deep. Jordan carded in at number 10 today, which I'm not sure I fully believe. And then with the ball, even without Jackson Curran, they're able to have at least 6 or 7 bowling options in the 11. So I think they'll want to continue that rhythm, and being at home in that quarter-final. Another difference in the Blast this year is that the knockouts are very close to the group stage. In previous seasons, there's been a massive gap between the final group stage game and the knockouts. This year it's different. We basically go straight into the knockouts, and I think that makes this game more important than it otherwise would do in previous seasons.
It's, as you say, a slightly compressed iteration now of the Blast, but a stronger one for it really. And as Yaz says, Ali, there is that momentum for the tournament. quarterfinals Wednesday, finals day Saturday, and so you feel like, rather than with last year it being spread out and rather stratified across the course of the summer, in this instance it's in the block, everybody knows the score, and the energy from this final day will be very fresh on Wednesday, and then of course finals day 72 hours later, so it's a better tournament for it.
I mean, you take momentum from it. Going back in the past, we used to play like 16 games and in 2 blocks, and you could be going really well at the start, and then you play about 3 weeks later and you could be totally out of form. Surrey in great form at the moment. They've really they've put themselves in a great position at the top of the group, and I said tonight will cement that for them if they can win tonight's fixture.
It's going to be Shane Snater from the Vauxhall end to get us going. Jordan Cox, keeper, standing up, very much in vogue now, just 2 men out of course. Deep square and a third, and deep third is into the action immediately. So huge night really for Essex in particular. Surrey will be featuring on Wednesday come what may, but for Essex, well, their season certainly in white ball really does hinge on the next 2.5, 3 hours here. They've done the first bit right, called right on the toss. Can they make it count? You mentioned Laurie Evans, Ali, up top. He's been moved up and down the order a little. Just feels like he will know his role now in that first 6, and he's done it so many times as well, of course. He's one of the storied T20 players in English cricket, and it just has a solid look now to it, doesn't it, with him up top with Jason Roy. Roy now as opener, and I know how important that is for you. You feel like that's where he needs to be, not at 3, but getting it going immediately, and as we saw the other night, vintage Jason Roy. So Laurie Evans away with tidy 3 round the corner.
I think it's just about knowing your role. It's difficult when you're batting opening sometimes, then you're at 4, 5. They're totally different roles in terms of where the fielders are. You've got 2 men out in the power play. You can take advantage of that on a good wicket, and which certainly Surrey did at Kent just a few days ago. But I like this matchup. They'll pick up their singles, but they're both boundary hitters and can really set the momentum at the start of the innings.
More runs into the onside, deep square and tidy up, so just a single. Bit of adrenaline in that throw, but no damage done. So Snater from this end, I imagine it will be Sam Cook from the pavilion end, and then Charlie Bennett we will see soon in the piece inside the first 6. I think much will depend on how Simon Harmer goes as well this evening. He remains the fulcrum of this Essex side. He captains them very effectively, makes the best of his resources, and you feel like when he bowls will be key as well. Essex will want to be able to control the narrative with him, not use up too many too soon. So coming back for a second, got to hurry, and he's gone. That did look tight. He turned blind, did Laurie Evans, and he's got to go. Bullet throw from deep third, right over the top. Jordan Cox does the rest, and he was always struggling, Yas.
Yeah, often with run-outs from the deep, they tend to rely on direct hits, but Evans, a long way out, looked like he was in trouble. Jason Roy at the other end, shaking his head. I don't think due to any sort of miscommunication between the two of them, but just in disappointment at giving Essex a freebie at the end of this first over. Wicket from nothing, and Laurie Evans, 1 over into the game, is back in the dressing room.
It never looked on. Turns blind. He's not in the picture. Brilliant throw.
I mean, to be fair to Laurie, if he'd seen Essex pre-match, none of them did that. We were watching down here, and I don't think most of the throws were at Chris Silverwood's feet. And if they weren't, they were going over the top, and that's absolutely on the money. You could tell he got the quick feet going halfway down. He turned blind thinking he was going to be okay, and there was a perfect throw.
Well, what did I tell you, Ali? It will always be all right on the night with my boys from Essex. So, Josh Philippi joins the fray here earlier than expected. Paul Walter is at a wide second slip. And he's going to be Sam Cook, driven hard, long half volley. And he was barely through his action by the time that ball was flying past him. So, early salvos for Jason Roy, 6 from 3.
Just a couple on the back foot to finish. I think that was just
It did feel
perfect,
like that,
wasn't it? Well, I mean, that was just a strong forward defensive, really. Just a good push, which does give you an idea into what sort of wicket this is. I think it looks a pretty good wicket.
That's better from Cook. That's where he tends to live, just short of a length on fourth stump.
Yeah, just the feel of the first sort of 7-8 balls here. You get the feeling it's a sort of a 185 par score wicket as a rough guide. I thought the first over it came on nicely, genuine pace of it. I think that would be an early call for a par score, 185, 190.
Good hands through mid wicket. That will run away, will just be cut off, but they'll come back for a second, perhaps mindful of the earlier run out, settling for a 2, but tidily played.
Well, the two sides played each other just 11 days ago, and it was an incredibly high-scoring game. Surrey winning that by 7 runs, having scored 240. So, if it is as Ali predicts, another good pitch. Could be a very high-scoring affair.
And again, wristily into the onside just for a single.
I think though, yes, the dimensions of this ground will mean it's not really a 240. It's just a little bit too deep. Some of the outfields. If it was in about another 5 yards on each side, that makes a massive difference. It might not seem a lot in terms of distance, but from a batting perspective, once you think you've got the distance covered, you're more likely to take on the bigger shots.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, we're playing pretty much in the middle of the ground, maybe 2 strips away from where the test strip is, and as a result, there's not really one particularly short boundary for the team to target.
They could have taken it a little bit further back on that side, and maybe they brought it in a little bit because of Essex's spinners. Could be. It's not short on either side. It's probably a perfect position for your best wicket, I would say.
And again, so a couple of dots to finish. Sam Cook gets out of his first over relatively unscathed. He'll be happy with that, having conceded a boundary from the first delivery. So 2 gone, 14 for 1. Laurie Evans ran himself out in the previous over. So decent start for Essex. Not much movement on show yet. It's probably not ideal swing bowling conditions. Barely a breath of wind, not a cloud in the sky. And as you say, Ali, it looks like a good pitch, this one.
I think just seeing those 2 clips from Philippe there, I thought you just get used to that pace of the wicket quite early, and I think it's just a nice pace wicket.
So slip in place. Keeper up to the stumps again for Snater's second. How's Josh Philippi gone for you, Yas, this year?
Very well, very well. I think it's a really smart acquisition. I think one of the difficulties for Surrey is they lose different players at different portions of the last group stage, and to have Philippi now in, not just for the group stage, but the knockouts too, in at 3, that's such an important position, and he started really well.
Through the hands, should have been taken. Should have been taken. I think it's Michael Pepper in there at mid-wicket. It was there for it. Might have been Benkenstein, in fact. It was hit cleanly enough, wristily, but decent catching height.
He had a bit of luck in the last game as well, didn't he? He was dropped early on. I think was it the last game or the game before? At a time when, if you remember, Jason Roy had that time in the 100 where he seemed to pick out players left, right, and centre. But it could be a huge miss. I think he looks a great player.
Losing his shape on that one, just overhitting, coming out of his position. Yeah. Essex will be mindful of the need to take all chances available here, and that was a regrettable miss, really.
Wouldn't put it down as a dolly, but it's one you'd expect to take 8 times out of 10.
Clubbed, but straight to mid-on. So, a good over so far. Shane Snater, can he get out of it with no further damage? Just 2 from it so far. So a good start here for Essex, notwithstanding that missed chance. Great, cheers. And again, just a single. Snater will take that all day long. So just 9 conceded from his first 2. One of Essex's unsung heroes, Shane Snater, but a very useful cricketer in all formats now. Very reliable. Here is that drop catch again. So he's in relatively close, but you have to see he's lined that up all the way. It's just burst through the hands.
To be fair, his movement towards the ball, he's really making sure he's cutting off that single. So he has come in probably a yard or 2 more than some others might in that position. So
Cook again. Clubbed into space, and that will run away for 4. Didn't get all of it, but got plenty.
I'm not sure if it's just because they share a bat sponsor or a sponsor that the other player I'm about to mention has previously had at least, but I definitely get Steve Smith vibes watching Josh Phillippe bat. That's a Steve Smith like pull shot. Shuffles across his stumps, pulls it in front of square. He's up and running onto double figures now.
Leading edge this time on the bounce though to Harmer at mid-off.
to be fair, he got enough of it that Phil didn't call it a cuff.
There'll be plenty of them, don't worry about that. And a plink. And all kinds. Let's just leave that for now. Yeah, he's very busy, isn't he? Very bottom-handed as well. Fancies the leg side, clearly. There you go again. Just shy of mid-on the half volley, I fancy. Everything is aimed towards that arc, though, from square leg to mid-on. This is the way that he plays.
That was Michael Pepper at mid-on. Anything to read into Jordan Cox taking the gloves at the moment for Essex?
Yeah,
Pepper
I think there is.
Pepper's tended to do the job previously when both of them had played.
Yeah, he kept in the 4-dayer as well against Leicestershire, the game where he made that big 100. Double, in fact, and I think it is relevant entirely to how he sees his future career and how he sees his way getting into the England side in all formats. There will be space available in due course to keep in the post-Butler era. Still a bit of life left in that, of course, but that will be a position that will be up for grabs before too long. And in the Test side as well. That's certainly the thinking behind it. Nicely played, reacting to the line and angling it behind square. I think so, yes. You?
I completely agree. I think Cox he's had a weird summer in that he's played so little cricket despite being fit. He's only played a handful of games in the Blast. Obviously was away at the IPL. He's been in England Test squads. Obviously he played the Test match here, but other than that, didn't play in the T20I squad for the India series, but hasn't played.
Nicely done, but mid-on, well, third man rather, is fine enough to cut that off. Tidy work.
I think it's interesting to see how Surrey actually bowl at him, because I think you say a couple of years ago when he got bumped out, it appeared he had a problem with the short ball, but actually he trumped that last year, especially in the 100, where everyone seemed to bowl short at him, and he was set for it. And just watching his 100 performances, he was just smashing it everywhere. So, I hope Surrey don't bowl at him short. I think that's what he's expecting. But I think if they hit a good line today, I think that's the best place to play for him.
Yeah, I think he's unlucky not to have played more for England. If you were picking an England team based on performances, in the 100 in particular, he'd definitely be in it.
Yeah, he's a class player, and I just felt that sides went short at him and didn't have a plan B. It's a bit like, we'll get him out with the short ball eventually, and they didn't. So, he looked well set for it, and something he looked like he's worked on a lot.
Snater in for his third here then, so they're making full use of the new ball. And why not? Just 2 overs for 9 coming into this.
Question for both of you. Snater bowling, keeper standing up. Is this the future of cricket? Is this the next tactical development? Are teams going to go more and more this way? We've seen it used against the England Test team with some success. There's a lot of logic behind it as well. It brings more dismissals into play if players are otherwise standing outside their ground.
Shot on the sweep and on the bounce. Got a lot of it, did Jason Roy. But that fieldsman just behind square on the onside, straight to him. So just a single.
I think it makes a massive difference, to be honest with you. I mean, the times when we played Gloucester when we were probably a very decent one-day side, and so were they. But our record against them was very good. But when Jack Russell stood up, that made you bat differently.
That's 4. Clubbed into the onside, there to hit, sat up and begged.
Yeah, slightly shorter from Snater, and Philippi very quickly onto it. He looked very good through the leg side. 17 off 14 now.
He's been looking for that shot a few times, hasn't he? Off a slightly fuller length, I think. And that one just sat in nicely and put away very easily.
So changing the field now. Simon Harman's bringing himself up into the ring from long on to mid on, and now a deep mid wicket as well as a deep square. Nobody out on the offside. That's gone down the ground and carries the full works. Beautifully played. Keeper up or back, doesn't matter to Josh Philippe. He just stays in his crease, extends those busy hands through it and lands it slap bang on the advertising hoarding. First maximum of the evening.
How crucial will that drop catch be? 20 runs added already by Philippi since the drop.
And he's starting to enjoy himself. You can sense that. Up to 24 now.
That pull shot's a bit like a Robin Smith cut, isn't it? It's like you don't want to be at mid-wicket if he nails it.
Why, Ali, when you were batting and Jack Russell was behind you, and sometimes he would deliberately not brush his teeth or leave his shirt on from yesterday just to make life a little bit more miserable for the batsman. What does change, though, in the mindset of the batter when you know there's a keeper behind you? Why should it make any difference?
Well, Jack Russell was an exceptional keeper. He's a brilliant painter, but he's an even better keeper. And I think the feeling was that Gloucester were one of those sides that didn't necessarily have quick bowlers, a lot of good medium pace bowlers. And so you felt that if ever a ball down the leg side that you might just fall over or something like that, you knew he'd have the bails off in an instant. And he was that good. The reason that a keeper up for sort of this attack, which is a sort of a medium pace opening attack, the batsman wants to give himself some room, and you'd like to come down the wicket, and it prevents you from doing that if you give yourself room and you miss it, because in the back of your mind, you know, if you leave your ground, you could be stumped. So that's why, and of course now we've got a bit more pace, so the keeper's back. But you know, especially in the early overs, that's why it is important.
Charlie Bennett jabbed into the onside, slightly false shot by Jason Roy. He's got a bit of pace as Charlie Bennett, and he's hurried up Jason Roy there. There's a lot to like about this young quick. He's emerged through the setup, come through second team cricket, got the nod last year in 1 or 2 one-day cup games, but he's now really establishing himself in the first team. And again, if you're just looking for attributes, you can see why. Again, on the bounce to deep mid-wicket.
On Philippi, by the way, and the Steve Smith comparison, it's not just the technique, the setup, the trigger movement, it's the pre-delivery fidgeting. Before each delivery, he touches and adjusts both pads. He's remarkably similar.
You sure he hasn't modelled that on Carl Cricken? Because we used to count in the slips. He used to touch his pads or something up to 20 times before delivery.
That's huge, and a man is under it. And he takes an excellent catch under pressure. That was a real steepler. Jason Roy going to the long mid-wicket boundary, gets a lot of it, but more elevation than distance.
That's a very good catch, not only because the sun is actually in that corner, but he looked like he'd overrun it to start with, just from here, and as I said, he adjusted really well, got underneath it and took a very good catch. Went high, but not quite the distance. Yeah,
big moment too, Jason Roy, 4-man for Surrey, scored 100 last time out here at the Kia Oval against Sussex, and just echoing that really, Ali, it's a really good catch from Pepper. Have a look at the replay here. What it probably won't tell you is just how much ground he covered, and how I think he actually loses sight of it quite early on, so he has to adjust quite late on. The boundary rope quite close to him as well. It's a really good catch for as a guy that, as we mentioned earlier, doesn't actually play as an outfielder that often.
But for those keepers, I mean, if you go back to Surrey, Surrey have played 5 keepers before in games, and actually their outfielding is outstanding. They're more agile. I said, just watching that live, I thought he'd overrun it. I thought it was going to go over his head, but he's actually picked it up brilliantly, come back, and he's made that look a lot easier than it really was. A very good catch in the deep.
Ollie Pope carded at 5 with Lawrence at 4, but they've swapped round for now. Pope it is. He's away. Good start though for Charlie Bennett. Picked up one already. 4 very full deliveries. That will be the brief. Yeah, it's an excellent catch. Steadied himself as well and set himself under the high ball. So often you see a fielder still on the move when they take those boundary catches, and if you are moving through the ball, you can sometimes come unstuck. So that was excellent work. Slower ball. And again, wristed into the onside by the ever-busy Josh Philippi. He's good to watch.
One delivery left of the power play. It's been a very good one for Essex. If Ali's right and 180, 185 is about par, you'd say that Surrey probably behind where they'd like to be. 5.5 overs into this game. Both openers back in the changing room already. Very good spell by Shane Stater. And Bennett started well too.
Got to run it. Oh, and Harmer is so good there. Got great hands always to pick it up. And Ollie Pope needed that little bit of luck as the ball just fizzes past the stumps, because I fancy he may well have been gone. We'll try and have another look at that. The bottom line is Ollie Pope is still there, 45 for 2. Inside now the first 6. Power play done. Essex edging proceedings just at the minute. And changing things up as well. It's going to be Matt Critchley with the first slow stuff of the day. Here is that replay. It was a hit and go. Giving it absolutely everything. Oh, and the bat was high as well. So that would have been gone, I fancy.
Pepper at mid-on had his hands on his head for a good 10 to 15 seconds. So I think we could be fairly safe in saying that was close.
So a couple of near misses for the visitors already. Critchley, beautifully bowled. He's given it all the flight and guile there. Too often you see spinners in white ball cricket tending to just arrow it and dart it, but that's a bit of old world class by the leggy. Good start. So 2 men basically next to one another on the drive, and then no cover after that. So yeah, just to clarify this field, it's an interesting one. Long on, long off. 2 men out on the leg side as expected. In fact, now they have changed it round now, so they have moved a fielder into deep cover to allow, if you like, for the drag down. Some support for Critchley, but he started tidily here. And again, hard sweep, just one.
Yeah, 8 overs of high quality spin at Essex's disposal today. Not just Critchley, but the skipper Simon Harmer, of course.
When you say Felipe is, very much like Steve Smith, but Steve Smith actually an excellent player of spin, someone who uses his feet a lot. So it'll be interesting to see the match-up. As I said, you've got 8 overs of quality spin, and if it's anything like Steve Smith, it'll be a good match-up.
So drops just beyond Simon Harmer, but a false shot. Very good start here from Critchley. And again, tossed up. Pope waiting for it this time. Cuffs it away for a single, but just 5 from that first over.
Yeah,
You're laughing at me again, gentlemen, for some reason.
Yeah, well,
or maybe it wasn't me. Maybe you're laughing at someone else.
No, in the cuff bingo, I don't know how many times you had that down for. What I would say is it's nice to see, for the spinners as well, for Essex, it's in their favour that the boundaries are actually a decent size. I think it'll make the players think a little bit, because they're actually very decent towards Archbishop Tennyson side, and just all around you can't see. There's not really a short boundary to go, and of course with Critchley bowling with a little bit of air as well, a nice start.
Going to be the skipper then. Now customary right arm round. This is the angle he likes with a white ball.
Really good period this for Essex. Back-to-back overs of 5. Harmer on. Bit of pressure building for Surrey.
Oh, he's got up for that. Umpire unmoved. Tricky, of course, with that angle, right arm round, but it was full. Arm ball, I fancy, and Harmer certainly wheeled away, thinking he had his man.
I think it just pitched outside leg, and I think Philippe has put his back out in the process.
That's in the gap. Oh, it would have been spectacular on this weekend of all weekends. That would have been the best touch by an Englishman all weekend. What a piece of work, but just eluded him in the end, and it runs away. Michael Pepper.
The best touch from an Englishman. Jude Bellingham would have knocked that back. That was very similar to the second goal. Good effort.
And again, the signature Josh Philippe swat into the onside.
I would say what made that difficult was two fielders converging.
Yeah.
I think he wanted to go head first, or hand first, but actually was made difficult because they were getting to come together.
Good hands, Ollie Pope.
Feels like an important ball this, after 2 good overs for Essex, 7 off the first 5 this time round.
Claiming that one as well. We move on. No great complaints. Okay.
So just 17 runs off the last 3 overs. Ali, what do you... Well, before that, Phil?
Yeah, so this is the Sustainability T20 sponsored by our long-term sponsors, friends here, SSE Energy Solutions. And last year, as you can see, the Kia Oval reduced its electricity consumption by 6.9% against the previous year, going in the right direction, doing really good things in collaboration with SSE. So a stifled appeal, more from behind the wicket there. Ollie Pope on the reverse.
Gloved, I think, I would say. They shout for anything, don't they, Essex? I know they're your team, Phil, but I mean, they do shout for everything.
Mate, when you're the underdog, you have to. Bowled him. Neck and crop. He started so well here as Matt Critchley. And he's fired one through. Josh Felipe, who's trying to give himself room to slap it through the offside. And instead, his leg stump is dislodged. Key moment, Ali Brown.
Yeah, look, they've played very well, as I said, the last few overs, 17 coming off those 3, and that pressure just rising a little bit, I think, for Surrey. But they do bat incredibly deep. I know we were talking about Chris Jordan batting at 10. I think that's where he will bat, because you've got Sean Abbott at 9, and he's got a T20 to his name. So they do bat very deep, and that allows them to be very positive. He's tried to just give himself a little bit of room, and then been slightly done in the flight, and a nice start from Critchley.
Yeah, I initially thought that it might have been the wrong one, given that it's beaten Felipe on the inside edge of his bat, but I think it is just a conventional leg spinner, and I think you're right as well, that done in the air slightly. It's been such an impressive spell so far from Critchley, in that his control of length's been really good, but he's not been afraid to toss it up.
Fabulous cricketer is Matt Critchley in all formats. What a signing he's been for Essex. Nabbed from Derbyshire 4 or 5 years back. And quietly, in the margins really of conversations regarding higher honours, he just compiles a serious body of work. So Lawrence it is to face his former employers. Always an extra bit of edge and needle. It's all good-natured stuff. He's got a lot of good friends still from this Essex side, of course, but Lawrence now ensconced in Surrey's middle order, and he always wants to score runs, but especially against the club that made him. This, you feel like, is the key phase in this innings. 59 for 3. 2 storied players in, of course, but they need a partnership.
Question for Ali. As a middle order player, Pope or Lawrence at the moment, how do you play a situation like this? Because I understand the need to consolidate after losing a couple of early wickets, but it's not a disastrous start by any means, but too many quiet overs and it feels like you're behind, and you almost have too much catching up to do. End of the over, just 3 runs from it. Sorry, 60 for 3 after 9.
Yeah, I think with boundaries like this, one of the things when you have bigger boundaries is to never neglect your twos. And what I mean by that is, so you've got a leg spinner bowling here, you can come outside the line of off stump, and if you can knock it in towards the 30-yard circle, then there's a good chance that you'll pick up your 2. If you get it more than that, you'll probably hit it too well and get your single. So, you know, it's on boundaries like this, it's not about just trying to hit as many 4s and 6s as possible. It's probably trying to hit one boundary and over and pick up your 1s and 2s, which will equate to probably 10.
21 for 2, in the last 4.1 overs. Both spinners have started really well.
They can't just let them bowl. I know they're bowling well, but you've got to have a plan. Whether it's, I like the field actually they've got 2 there for the reverse sweep.
So there is that call for 2, but nothing doing this time.
I said it's just past the 30-yard circle. If you can just get that on the 30-yard circle, then that's the 2, and that's really what you're aiming for. And if you can get that slightly squarer as well, maybe get outside the line of off stump and work it into the leg side, just square of the umpire, would also get a couple. And that's not often seen, actually. In the modern game, it's more about hitting 4s and 6s and the bounds, especially when you get the shorter boundaries, you see a lot of that. And in the past, when Surrey haven't played quite so well, we've seen them caught in the deep a lot. But, you can still get 12 and over with 6-2s. It doesn't have to be a couple of maximums into the stand.
It's interesting you say that. Harry Brook, after one of the England victories over India in this recently concluded T20I series, actually pinpointed England's ability to get 2s as one of the factors in their success, and that it's something that they monitor. Are we out 2sing the opposition? And it's something that England did throughout that series.
In the gap this time, that will elude Michael Pepper for a much needed boundary. Ollie Pope then is away, finally gets one off the meat.
So you only need one of those and over, really, to sort of to get that scoreboard ticking. You'll pick up at least a runner ball if you're always looking into the leg side, which they probably would.
Bit more air this time, and Pope just drops it at his feet, ambles through for a single. So another one ticks by, halfway point. Essex is edging it so far, 69 for 3, as we move into the second half of this one. But it's bubbling up very nicely. And it's going to be Matt Critchley as well, you'd expect, after 2 fabulous overs and that key wicket in the previous of Josh Philippe. He's going to carry on here into his third.
Another thing I'd do, actually, Yas, is try and slow them down. They're getting through the overs very quickly, and try and sort of slow them down.
Up in the air, but it'll fall
Spin.
short of the man charging in at deep square leg. Shades, Ali, not quite as extreme as the Kent game here, but shades of the Kent game where Kent bowled Jake Linton and Joe Denley unchanged for 8 overs, and that really stalled Surrey's progress with the bat. Oh, and another. Critchley strikes for the second time, and it's the birthday boy Dan Lawrence against his former side, who has to depart for 3 of 6 deliveries. Surrey 74 in the 11th over.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of pressure. I think they know what the par score is. You can't let these two bowl at you. But again, I think that was more of a trying to get a release boundary shot, and he's bowled very well. And just, I think, to be fair to the Kent spinners, I think these two are slightly better than those. And there's no disrespect to Joe Denley, but I think Matt Critchley, you'd say, is closer to England's selection than Joe would be. And I think you've got Simon Harmer at the other end. And in tandem, it works very well.
That also turned as well. The Philippe wicket went on with the arm, but that's turned and gripped and done Lawrence in the flight as well as the direction. And it's a brilliant piece of work, really. He's having a night out, as they say, at the minute. He's Matt Critchley, and he's turning this game in Essex's favour.
Tom Curran, the new man in at number 6 for Surrey. And a tidy piece of work behind the stumps too from Jordan Cox. Essex sensing an opportunity to attack, slip in place for the new man.
Yeah, I like to see it as well.
I think the other thing maybe we don't talk about is it's also 30 degrees today. And I think it's all very well saying, oh, let's get 6-2s. But I can tell you, when it's that hot, that is not easy. And, we played a game a few years ago, which I'll tell you after this ball.
And that was the googly.
Yep.
And I batted with Dominic Thornley, who used to be an overseas player, Australian, that we had. And he was very good at getting 3s. And it was 35 degrees. And I can tell you by about 12 overs, I had nothing left. He kept getting 3s. So, yeah, you can find your 2s, but it's also going to take a lot out of you in this heat.
Yeah, gotcha.
Just 3 runs from this over, 1 delivery remaining. It's a single, and it ends another very good over for Critchley and Essex. Surrey 73 for 4.
With these lucky guys in the best seats in the house, courtesy of Kia. So guys, where have you come from?
We've come from Woking in Surrey.
Woking in Surrey. So who are you supporting?
Surrey!
Come on, Surrey! Come on, Surrey! Woo!
That should work.
It's going to be Simon Harmer again. So still the Spin Twins bowling in tandem.
I mean, Critchley's bowled is 3 overs, 2 for 12, which is quite outstanding in this middle period. And as you rightly say, where Surrey fell flat against Kent, the pressure is building in the middle, and as they lose wickets, it's difficult to rebuild.
Yeah, you feel like the timing of that Lawrence wicket in particular. Surrey struggling for rhythm at the moment against the Essex spinners, but that wicket almost necessitates slightly more cautious batting. Surrey 4 down in the 11th. Oh, good piece of fielding at backward point by Paul Walter. Does well to get down to it.
What was I saying, Ali? Look, when they're actually out there, they're lethal.
To be honest, Tall Paul can cover probably 20 yards in that position, 10 either side.
In the air and out. It's another wicket. It's the 5th Surrey wicket to fall. They're 75 for 5. And the Essex skipper, Simon Harmer, well, he's in on the action too.
Just not sure the shot was on, really, with a 70-yard boundary and 3 men posted for it. I guess if you get it right out of the screws, then you're in business. But so early in the piece, Tom Curran, you're dicing with death, and he's got to go. Essex having a ball out here. Your comparison, Yas, with the Kent game is a astute one. The slowies just strangling Surrey's middle order.
I think it's the problem that Surrey have had in earlier part of the group stage is that they were taking on big boundaries, and I guess that you want to be positive, but actually you can just give yourself a few balls to score a runner ball, maybe a little bit more, by taking some easier options while trying to assess the wicket. And he's probably hoping for that to come down, but he'd be disappointed with that.
Yeah, with the exception of a couple of firmly hit pull shots, pretty much exactly square on the leg side, Surrey have struggled to pepper the leg side boundary. Jordan Clark in at number 7. Surrey with a lot of work to do. 75 for 5, still only in the 12th over. And Essex will really look to apply the squeeze here. Mid-wicket in really, really tight, trying to cut off that single. Another fantastic over for the visitors so far. 2 runs from it and the wicket of Tom Curran. And it's another single. Outstanding from Simon Harmer. Outstanding from Essex. Surrey 75 for 5 after 12.
But it's the fact they're bowling so well in tandem. It's not like pressure at one end and release at the other. It's pressure and pressure. And you'd look at some of those dismissals and you say Dan Lawrence, Tom Curran in the middle order. They're disappointing dismissals. They're looking for the big boundary. And I'd say that's the one weakness I think we've seen in this group stage with Surrey. They do take on big boundaries, and at times it doesn't go well when they could perhaps think differently. Smaller boundaries, yes, take them on, but bigger boundaries, they put themselves in a pickle at 75 for 5.
More spin for Essex, but this time from young Luke Benkenstein. So Simon Harmer saving Matt Critchley's 4th over for later in the piece. Slightly leg side from Benkenstein. Pope throws his head back in frustration.
I think that's quite a surprising choice. I'd actually bowl those, keep the pressure on. You've got a new player on Clark. Ollie Pope will not be able to play as expansively as he would have liked, and I think they'd still want to attack this, Benkenstein as the new bowler.
Leading edge from Clark. He's off the mark. They think about 2, but decide against it. Phil, what do you make of the move to bring in Luke Benkenstein just now?
I can see a bob each way, really. They do like him, Benkenstein, and they like that he takes on the pressure moments, especially in white ball cricket. So there's no harm in just playing on the edginess of Surrey's batters at the moment, the old twist or stick dilemma when you've lost a few more than would be ideal in this period of a 20 over innings. And I don't mind it. Critchley though, what a spell that was.
I think the thing for me is, could he have taken another wicket or two? And I think that where you could absolutely kill the game. Look, Essex are way ahead at the moment. Surrey really pushing for anywhere near a par score, and they're going to be comfortably underneath that.
It's a really good start from the youngster. Just 3 runs from the first 5 deliveries of the over. Can he get out of it without conceding a boundary? Going to have to bowl that one again. Tidy take from Cox.
I think that's the first wide of the innings. Very rare to get through so much of a T20 innings. He's gone up for that.
For LBW, probably a bit high. Probably a bit high, but it ends another very good over for Essex. 4 runs from it. Surrey 79 for 5. We've been talking about the fall of wickets and how Surrey are probably going to have to use that longer batting on it, but that innings run rate only a nudge over 6 runs per over. A lot of work to do for Surrey. A change of tempo. It's going to be Bennett back on from the pavilion end. Just a 1 over so far, but it was an impressive over. Picked up the wicket of Jason Roy, the 4-man for Surrey at the moment, in the final over of the power play. Excellently caught by Michael Pepper at deep mid-wicket. He's going to bowl to Ollie Pope, who's 21 off 21. Plenty of leg side boundary protection. 4 fielders in the ring on the offside.
Yeah, and that's been his policy, Bennett, bowling full and straight with that protection. 4 men in the arc from mid-on down to long leg. You've got to trust yourself though. And he's done it well so far in the 7 deliveries he's sent down. Another homegrown player, 7 in this Essex 11. Grew up in and around the county and have come through the pathway system. That's the way to do it.
Mid-on now up for Clark. It's another wide. It's quite interesting field for Clark, because Clark is someone who we know from actually seeing him in red ball cricket as much as anything else. Very powerful player down the ground. So if Bennett is trying to look to bowl full, minimal margin of error to a player like Clark.
The problem though for Surrey is they're on the rebuild, and that's the, so if they were 3 wickets down and another 10 or 20 runs more, they probably would be taking a more aggressive stance. They do though have, when we talk about being a free hit, they can't go out the quarterfinals. This is their, but this is why you want them to get that. They'll need to be getting at least 145, 150, I would say, on this. I think Essex have bowled very well on it. I think their field positions have been excellent too.
Nicely played by Clark, but it's just a single. 3 runs from the first 3 legal deliveries of this over.
Just mentioned the field positions and the placings. I've watched a lot of Essex in white ball cricket over the years since Simon Harmer's taken over, and I don't think there's too many better tacticians out there on the field. He's a man, he's 36 years old now, Simon Harmer. He's been around the block for many, many years, but he has a fabulous feel for the game.
Oh, bowled in. Bennett gets his second. Pope looking to get creative. Loses his off stump. And young Charlie Bennett, he's got 2 for 8. And Surrey 82 for 6.
Well, we were saying, Yas, this was his style. Full, straight, and in and around the pads with the cover on the onside. And if you try and get too cute, then he'll take a pole out as well. Brilliantly done. Excellent ideas as well. Good conception from Essex. 6 down. How about that? 82 on the board. Essex must win game for them. Doing it well so far.
course, it was his leg stump, not his off stump, but proper cartwheeling action. Pope looking to manipulate the ball towards the fine leg boundary. Doesn't come off. The Surrey skipper departs 22 off 23. And Surrey in all sorts of bother. 82 for 6, 6.2 overs remaining in the innings. Ali, you mentioned a score of 140, 145. They've got a lot of work to do to get there.
Yeah, I just feel that's a strange shot to play with. Actually, fine leg is actually quite fine. So he's actually trying to get that really fine. And I think that's the difference. If the man was up, you're not worried. All you got to do is get the height. But because he realises he's got to get it fine as well, he's toppled over and lost that leg stump.
Chris Jordan in at number 8, and Bennett short first up to Jordan. It's not delivery he's used so far. I think suggests that it might be a set plan for Chris Jordan, such as the preparation that every team does these days. They will have set out plans for each Surrey batter.
He's got a little bit of pace about him, and Chris Jordan, of course, very important to the Surrey bowling lineup. He's bowling brilliant at the moment, isn't he? So it may be part of that.
Pulled hard, in the gap for 4. Release of pressure for Surrey and Clark. His first boundary. 8 runs from the over, Surrey 87 for 6.
Yeah, just trying to take a bit of pace off the slower ball bouncer. I'm not quite sure that was the answer, really. Slightly telegraphed. So a small release of pressure, but otherwise a pretty good couple of overs for Charlie Bennett. Probably the first time you've seen him in the flesh, Yas?
Yeah, he's been really impressive. Very, very impressive. The height and the bounce that comes with it has clearly posed awkward questions for the Surrey players. And he's also had a set plan that's quite difficult to execute. We saw it in the Surrey-Hampshire game. Young Manny Lumsden struggling at times. The margins for error are so small in T20 cricket. And really, other than that one wide and probably that delivery they got hit for 4, it's been bang on the money. It's another Essex youngster continuing from the Vauxhall end. Benkenstein into his second over. It's down the leg side. Did it come off a pad? Yeah, it did, so just one leg bite. Feels like, Ali, Surrey have struggled to find the leg side boundary at both ends against a spinner, and Essex have bowled pretty straight to the Surrey right-handers.
I think there's a sort of a benchmark here where when Kent came here, they did exactly the same thing. Not just because of the spin, and I think the spin is stronger for Essex in terms of what they've got, but they didn't leave the stumps. They didn't give Surrey any room. And in fact, Adam Hollyoake said that was their plan. You know, if they bowl the odd wide, that's absolutely fine. And that's basically what Essex have done. They bowled very nicely. They bowled it into the wicket. It's just held a little bit for the spinners. But it means that Surrey have to find other areas to hit. And I think too often they're looking for the big shot to release the pressure rather than lots of little ones with the occasional boundary, which a ground of this size would indicate is possibly the way to go.
Benkenstein's been slightly flatter than Critchley, more in that modern style of leg spin bowling that we see in T20 cricket. A bit more air that time.
But what I like about the field positions is the 2 men behind square has stopped Surrey playing the reverse sweep to these spinners. And okay, yes, they've got the tallest man they can get behind there as well, which makes a big difference. But I haven't seen anyone say, right, okay, I'm going to try and take it over the top. Jason Roy probably would have done. But it's an interesting... That's what I really like about the field. I think the field is really good. It's cut that shot out, which I think against these spinners is a very important shot.
Another good over for Essex, just 6 runs from it. Surrey 93 for 6 as we head into the final 5 overs of the Surrey innings. Simon Harmer has an over left, as does Matt Critchley. It's going to be Simon Harmer now, actually, to complete his spell. 1 for 18 so far. That wicket, that of Tom Curran for 3. So plenty of options remaining for Harmer. 6 bowlers used so far today. And he's going to be bowling from around the wicket, as he did in his first spell. Pulled into the gap. And 4 more. First boundary for Chris Jordan. Ever so slightly short from Harmer.
Yeah, but not by much, as you say. He's jumped on it. It's a brilliant shot.
Played nicely and gets over those wickets nice and quickly. I mean, so far, Essex have bowled 8 overs of spin for 34 runs up to that point.
Yeah, canny bowling, though, to throw it further outside the eye line, knowing that Jordan is looking leg side.
I was watching the back end of the Sussex-Hampshire game today, which is an amazing match. If you haven't seen the highlights or read the scorecard, Hilton Cartwright and young Ben Mays put on more than 100 for the 6th wicket to basically get Hampshire over the line to move themselves back into top spot. It was interesting watching Jack Carson bowl. He was doing exactly what Simon Harmer is doing now, bowling from around the wicket and bowling the ball, almost challenging the wide line every delivery. And to your point earlier, Ali, it feels like, especially this line of attack from Essex, this is the time to maybe risk the aerial reverse sweep. Oh, appeal for LBW, full toss. High on the thigh of Chris Jordan.
That could be quite close. I mean, it's interesting. We're talking about those fielding positions, but it is Tall Paul who's in exactly the place where you would want to elevate.
Oh, it slips out of Harmer's hand. You know what? That is close.
Plumb.
It's really close. It might be high.
I think that's hitting the top of middle stump. I think it's come down.
End of another good over for Essex. 6 runs from it. Surrey 99 for 6. Let's have a look at the replay again. Shades of the Graham Swan LBW to Chris Rogers.
I think Hawkeye is giving this 6 inches below middle stump. Out.
Yeah, that's
out.
That's adjacent.
Didn't pitch, so you can't be pitching outside leg stump.
But like the Chris Rogers one in the 2013 Ashes, it can be difficult for umpires when it's such a peculiar and surprising delivery.
He's probably thinking, is it going to be a free hit to start with? But it's actually come down. No, it is. It's close to being a free hit. Surprises everyone because he's bowled so well. And then that's, often with spin, you throw out a loose ball, and that's the one that foxes you.
Critchley on for his final over. Oh, nearly another.
So they know what they're doing here. They're holding Sam Cook back. He is their death bowler and new ball bowler, so he's still got 2. Critchley to take this one. It will be a toss-up between Bennett and Benkenstein, you imagine, for that final over from this end.
Dabbed into the leg side. I think about 2. They will get there. That ball ended up a good 10 or so yards within the 30-yard circle. I wonder if that was one for the bowler or the keeper to retrieve. That 2 brings up the Surrey 100. 101 for 6. Deep mid-wicket. A good 10 yards off the fence. Very close again. Inside edge from Clark onto the left thigh.
First ball he bowled earlier in the piece, Matt Critchley, just tossed one up and got one to spin away from Ollie Pope's outside edge. And from that delivery onwards, his control of line has just been superb. Top class today.
Control's been brilliant, but it's also that he bowls with variety. You can see it in the 2 wickets he took. The one to Philippi, slightly flatter, almost going on with the arm, and the one that got Lawrence stumped. Bit more air, bit more turn. Yeah, Essex, they won't mind singles at all at this stage of the innings. We mentioned 180 at the start, we mentioned 140 later on. Even 140 feels a long way away from where Surrey currently are. There's 19 deliveries remaining in the innings. final ball of Critchley's spell. Bit of a drag down.
And he's out.
And it's another. Critchley finishes with a wicket. 3 for 16 from his 4 overs. It's probably the worst ball that he's bowled. Looked to bowl a quicker delivery. Ended up being a bit of a drag down. But Clark didn't get hold of it at all. And he presented quite a difficult chance actually for Noah Thane running in at long off. Who did well to get his fingers underneath the ball. And Surrey 7 down.
Yeah, it was a good catch. 3 for 16 then from his 4. What a spell. What a performance. Matthew Critchley really coming to the party at the absolutely crucial moment for Essex. Week after week, he just tots up the numbers. He's become a top class player in white ball cricket to go alongside his red ball runs and wickets. So, what can Surrey eke out of these final 3 overs? 7 down. The power is still there in the middle with Sean Abbott joining, but one false move and they're going to fall over in a heap here. You feel like, Ali, they have to find 30 from these final 3, scurrying and scavenging for whatever they can find.
Yeah, at least, I think. I think even 135 might be shy of what they need to win this game. But
at least then there's a bit of jeopardy if they pick up a couple of wickets early
I think
on.
the wickets held a little bit, and it certainly suited the spinners. But to be fair, Surrey can't always play on an absolute belter. And I think if they get to finals day, which they should do, they're going to have, if they play in the final, that you're likely to get a similar wicket, a wicket that will have had some cricket on it, could be a little bit dry, could hold. And they'd need to play a little bit better against spin than they have both here and at Kent.
Pace off from Cook, and I think that's going to be the way he'll go here. We've seen the Essex spinners bowl with so much success so far. From the 10 overs of spin bowled by Essex, they've gone for a combined 48 runs and picked up 4 wickets in the process. And Cook, of course, a seamer, bowling with a similar field to what Simon Harmer was bowling to.
But like you said, Yas, this again is wicket to wicket. It's giving them no room to free the arms with good fielding positions. And, they're not happy just picking out 1s and 2s. I think they tried to force it. A number of the dismissals have been disappointing, caught in the deep, and sort of some of the chances that they've tried to play. And I think they probably tried to get too many. They got caught a little bit. And also, you've got to say that in particular, Harmer and Critchley bowled brilliantly in the middle.
Clubbed out to deep mid wicket, still only a single. We'll come back for 2 actually. Comfortably home in the end.
Chris Jordan running 3 there. The time he finishes at the 30-yard circle.
Just thinking, there's barely been any wickets bowled by Essex, with the exception of Simon Harmer, who had a very deliberate tactic to almost target just the right side of the wide line. I can't think of a ball that's been hit through the covers, certainly since the power play, or anything that's really been cut with venom. Such a disciplined performance from Essex with the ball. And just 1 again, so 1 delivery remaining in the over, 5 runs from it so far. Now even 130 feels a long way away. Another single, 6 runs from the 18th over. Surrey 109 for 7.
I'll tell you what it does mean, though, that Kia don't have to pay £1,000 for a catch today, the way this is going.
Well, just 1-6 hit so far in the Surrey innings. So, the Kia Oval has saved over 100 homes worth of electricity in 2025. Amazing work in conjunction with their long-standing partners, SSE Energy Solutions. Yeah, just 1-6 in the innings so far. It's going to be Shane Snater to bowl the final over from the Vauxhall end, penultimate over of the innings.
And that 6 was so straight that there was no crowd there anyway.
Yeah. Also, 18 overs delivered in 64 minutes. Oh, that's in the air, but is it going to go the distance? No. And it's caught by Benkenstein, who had a lot of ground to cover. And Surrey lose their 8th. 109 for 8 with 11 balls remaining in their innings.
Well, it was probably there to hit, but it's been the story of the afternoon, hasn't it? That Surrey's attempts at pushing on, going for the big shot, invariably just landing in an outfielder's hands. We've now seen 4 outfield catches, all 2 aggressive shots. And Essex, apart from that one aberration early on against Felipe, they have caught really well. And the flow has been for them right from the start. Even that bullet throw to get rid of Laurie Evans in the second over set the tone so well. And I tell you what, 8 for 109. This is Essex's now to lose in a big, big way. If they can just hold their nerve with the bat, they'll have scraped into a quarter-final, and dare I say it, echoes of when they last won this tournament. Very similar story. Only broke through into the last 8 by the skin of the teeth, and then landed up winning it under Harmer's captaincy. 2019 that was. They're a funny old team, but when they get it right, they can be lethal.
A reminder that this is effectively a knockout game for Essex. Win and they are through, lose and they are out. Just a single Laws off the mark means that Chris Jordan is back on strike. It's funny how different conditions can produce a totally different game of cricket. Just 11 days ago, Surrey batted first against Essex at Chelmsford and scored 240. They might not even get half of that here today. Oh, hit hard and into the stands. Second 6 of the innings. The first one since the power play.
Yeah, it was in the slot, and finally a Surrey batter gets enough of it to clear the outfield. Right into a pocket of fans. No one claimed the catch. Yeah, much needed. Can Jordan find a couple more here? 8 deliveries left of this innings. They can take 2 a ball up to the end of the innings, then 130, 135. They're just checking that nobody's done themselves a mischief down there in the crowd. Everything's okay. There was a bit of concern initially that someone may have been hit by the ball on ricochet.
Down the ground again. 6 again. Back-to-back 6s for Chris Jordan. Brings a bit of energy into the crowd as well. Surrey past the 120 mark. And finally a bit of momentum for the home side.
Yeah.
That was probably the crispest of the lot. Just a very good punch, middle of the bat. And that's comfortably cleared the boundary by good 20 to 30 yards.
Yeah, so the gamble to throw the final over from this end to Shane Snater's not paid off for Essex here. Wonder if pace off, trusting in young Benkenstein might have been a better way to go. Easy after the event, of course, but they've both been in the slot, inviting medium pace. Suddenly 12 from 2, 1-2-2 for 8. Anything north of 135, and at least it'll be a challenge to Essex in the first 6.
Bit of a committee meeting near the bowler's mark. Simon Harmer Jordan Cox and Shane Snater in discussion. Essex in no danger of missing the cut-off time. So this is almost where the cut-off time works against the speed of play, because unless they take 8 minutes to bowl this ball, there is no punishment for Essex.
I don't think you can hide the ball for 8 minutes, though. Yas, they have thrown it back.
It's actually been quite interesting to see how involved Jordan Cox has been throughout the 20 overs. Simon Harmer, of course, calling the shots, but Cox always involved, always tinkering from behind the stumps. Different wicketkeepers of different personalities. And you'd say that Cox is one of the more involved men behind the stumps. Bowled him. Jordan goes for 25. Snater just pulls his length back a little bit. Jordan looked to take him over the leg side, but it probably wasn't quite short enough for that ball. So Snater responds well after being hit for back-to-back sixes, and Chris Jordan departs for 25 useful runs from number 8.
Very useful. I mean, they have to be getting 130 plus. I think the wicket has just held a bit when you bowl it into the wicket, but they will be needing 135 plus to give themselves half a chance and wickets up front. But Essex bowling, giving no width, and bowled very nicely all the way through.
Yeah, off cutter from Snater, and actually looking at the replay, Phil, that's quite a short delivery, didn't really get up.
Yeah, deliberately bowled, taking pace off it, and as you say, just cutting under the ball, and so gets that ball to scuttle along the floor a little bit more. Really clever piece of skill. And any time, with all due respect to the great man Reece Topley is walking out in a 20-over game, you know that something's gone awry for Surrey. What can they squeeze out of these final 6?
Laws look to play at least 2 shots to that delivery.
It's a difficult scenario here as well, because Tom Laws will be wanting to keep the strike, so a single not really what he's looking for.
Similar field for Essex, lots of protection on the leg side boundary. Pace off again from Sam Cook. They do take the single though.
Essex won't mind that.
Be interesting to see if the field changes at all for Reece Topley. This is 219th T20 game. 143 runs so far. Oh, appeal for LBW and given. Topley falls, first ball. And that brings about the end of the Surrey innings. 123 all out from 19.3 overs. Ali, the visitors, sublime in the field with both ball and in the outfield.
Yeah, look, they hustled us before the game where we thought they weren't very good in the field. I thought they were excellent in the field. They bowled very well. They bowled to plans. I think Surrey weren't quite savvy enough with some of the dismissals in the deep, especially some of their middle order. They, if they look back, I don't think 180 was necessarily as it panned out. Probably 160 was a roundabout par. But I said Surrey gifted a few wickets early up front with the needless probably run out at the start. But take nothing away from Essex. I think they bowled brilliantly. The spinners really taking the pace off. But it did show that the ball into the wicket was holding a bit. I think less pace on the ball is probably better. I know Surrey have a bit of pace about them. But, if Surrey can bowl into the wicket, they'll need early wickets. They're a long way behind. But we'll see what they can do with the ball in hand.
Phil, Surrey were going quite nicely at one stage, 58 for 2 with the overseas Josh Philippi in with the skipper Ollie Pope, and then it was Matt Critchley who got things going.
All about Critchley this evening. First delivery was a beauty, and then he gets rid of Felipe in that first over with one that goes on the arm. And then for me, the best piece of bowling of the evening was just to entice Dan Lawrence out of his box, spin it past the outside edge with appreciable turn, And Jordan Cox, who has had a good day actually with the gloves, effective on that run out as well, and Laurie Evans did the rest. All in all,
Kia Carr in action, distributing shirts to those in the crowd. But yeah, Essex outstanding in the first innings. Not just Critchley too, the skipper Simon Harmer 1 for 23 from his 4 overs. Luke Benkenstein brought on towards the back end of the Surrey innings. His 2 overs went for just 9.
and just a word for Charlie Bennett as well, Yas, who's now taken 16 wickets in this year's tournament. He's come from nowhere really. Played a couple of games last year, didn't really knock down any trees, and this time round he's become a key figure in this white ball side and bowled with a bit of pace and a lot of heart earlier to pick up a couple as well.
Essex need 124 runs to win to secure a quarter-final spot for them. We'll be taking a short break, but we'll be back for that Essex run chase in 10 or so minutes.
Surrey's #1 boy band. Here they are, No Direction. So we've got Noah. So we've got Noah and Jonty. Is it Noah and Jonty over here? And they're going to take on. Is it Luke? Luke and Josh. So aim of the game is to try and catch that ball. Adam will fire it out, and you've got to catch it. So first up, let's go with Noah. Go on, Noah. Let's get behind Noah. See if they can catch it. He's the lead singer from the band. Oh, it's up, it's up. Can he catch it? Can he catch it? Oh, he's got it! You get 2 more. Here we go. If you can catch all 3. It's up, it's up. He's got to run towards that one. Oh! Oh, dear. Right, you got 1 more. Get ready, take position there, Noah. Oh, it's high, it's high. Is it? Good catch. 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3 there. Okay, Jonty, up you get. There he is, dressed as a barcode. It's up high, Jonty. Oh! Obviously never played cricket before. Okay, are you ready, Jonty? Up it goes. It's gone high, it's gone high. Oi! 1 catch there. See if you can get 2 out of 3. Okay, Jonty, this is it. Your last ball. Last of 3. He's got it. 2 out of 3. Okay. Next up, it's Luke. Oh, it's up, it's up, it's up, it's up. Can he get it? Oh, good catch. That's 1 of 3. Second ball coming up for you, Luke. Oh, he's got to run towards that one. He's got it. Can he get 3 out of 3? Take your position, Luke. Here it comes. Oh, he's got to run towards that one. Can he get it? Oh! It's all down to Josh. Now, Josh, the girls say he is the eye candy of the boy band. Here he is. Okay, Josh, first ball. Oh! So to draw, you've got to catch both of these. Up it goes, up it goes. Oh, it's a high one, it's a high one. Can he get it? He's got it. And for the draw, you've got to catch this one. It's all. Can he get it? Can he get it? Oh! And look at that. He styles it out. He styles it out as well. So, guys, that is a draw. We'll sort this out with a thumb war in a moment. But in the meantime, back to CJ the DJ.
Welcome back to the Kia Oval for this Essex run chase. They require just 124 runs to ensure that they qualify for the quarterfinals. Surrey will definitely be in the quarterfinals, but a win today would mean that they play theirs at home. It's going to be Reece Topley with the new ball from the Vauxhall end, bowling to Paul Walter, who has fond memories of playing on this ground, 2 championship hundreds here in the last couple of years. Cut into the offside, it'll be 1. Apologies for the slight technical issue at the start of this Essex run chase. There we are. You didn't miss much. Single out to deep point.
Oh, it was a good shot, actually.
Yeah, middled. Yeah. Good cut shot. You have to take our word for it.
Yeah, you'll have to trust us on that, folks.
He does hit the ball so hard, does Paul Walter.
Mark Church, often of this commentary team, working just up the way from us. He thinks he should be batting for England. He says it every time he sees him. He should be opening the batting for England, he says to me. Picks me out time after time. See tall Paul get a few again. Best technique in England he's got.
Well, to be fair, Churchy watches a lot of Surrey, and Paul Walter tends to score runs every time he plays Surrey. So I can see how he's reached that conclusion. Topley's been outstanding with the new ball this season. Very effective in the power play. But Essex chasing just 124 can afford to be a bit more cautious than usual, Ali.
Yeah, they can do. I mean, they've only got to score a runner ball, but I think if Surrey can pick up early wickets, that's the thing that we're not talking about at the moment is this is an eliminator for Essex. This is not an eliminator for Surrey. So Surrey can play. Yes, they're behind in the game. They're not favourites, but actually, if Essex don't get past this total, they could be out of the competition. So there is that pressure, but early wickets are needed.
Oh, appeal. Not given. Nor is a wide given, so just a dot ball. Presume that flicks something.
That's the
way
standard no wide appeal, isn't it? I heard something, I didn't hear something, but I'm not going to give the wide. Could well have picked his pad.
Been a tough year with the bat for Michael Pepper. He's become a key man at the top of the order for Essex in white ball cricket. He's made some hundreds as well. But he's just struggling for rhythm a bit this year across the formats. That's a tidy piece of work, though. Gorgeous timing.
Amazing timing from Pepper. No more than a push through the offside, and that's rolled away over the boundary rope for 4.
Not yet posted a 50 in any competition for Essex this year, but a couple of scores in 2 of the last 3 games in T20. Made a 34 against Hampshire a couple of days back and 47 against Sussex in that game that Essex won so comfortably, with Sam Cook picking up 4 for 7 in that one. And so perhaps the rhythm is starting to come back into his game.
Oh, what a shot that is. Gives himself a bit of room, moves over to the offside and helps that over fine leg for 4. An authoritative start from Pepper, back-to-back boundaries, and Essex are away.
Yeah, and I'm pleased to see it, because when you're looking at a small target, there might be that temptation to play within yourself, to consolidate, but no, this is Pepper's game. This is the job that he does for them in the opening 6, and so you should attack this target as if you're chasing down 200, not 122.
I think you can also kill the game in the power play.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen that the ball into the wicket as the ball gets a little bit older was harder to play. So if they target this strongly and then get it down to about 5s and below, then it becomes very difficult. But good start for Essex.
It'll be Jordan Clark from the pavilion end, bowling around the wicket to Paul Walter. You mentioned Pepper's form, Phil, but with how fast the end of the competition comes about, this time next week we'll know who the winners are.
Yeah.
You only need a little burst and that could mean so much to your team.
Indeed, and whisper it, because this game is far from done yet, but a few little details might just be falling into place for Essex. Sam Cook's returned to take that new ball in recent weeks. Been out with injury for a key chunk of the season. Jordan Cox is now available, so he's not been required for the white ball squads for England, and that could very easily have been a different story. So he's a massive result for them at first drop. Michael Pepper, who is explosive when in form, might just be playing himself back into it, and so they're not overburdened with stars. It's a broadly homegrown team, but they are dangerous, and no team will want to face them in the quarters if they do get there.
The funny thing with finals day as well, and that wicket potentially being susceptible to spin, is that they've got 2 to 3 very good spinners in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you want in a T20 side. I think having good spinners is really important, because if you lose a wicket, you've got to start against spin, and there aren't too many people that actually want to go headstrong straight away.
Yeah, it's very true. They've got some really lovely variety in their attack.
Oh, Pepper looks to give himself a bit of room to access the offside boundary. No fielders out on the offside at the moment. Only 2 fielders allowed outside the ring in that first power play, both of them on the leg side at the moment.
Ali, having opened the batting for many, many years in limited overs cricket, and when you're chasing and you go out to bat, tidily played for a couple, in fact just the single. When you're chasing, say in a T20 game, whether you're chasing 220 or 150, would you change your approach as an opening bat in those first 6, or would you treat it as any game, any scenario, this is my job to go out there and give it a bit of whack?
Well, there's a big difference between 220 and 150. I mean, 220, you obviously got to really hit that power play very hard.
Short, and that flies away for a 1 bounce 4. Top edge from Walter, 6 from the over. Essex 15 without loss.
The problem for Surrey here is that they're actually Essex are only going to have to actually just go just over a run a ball, and that just means you just got to play. And so Surrey have to attack. Their field placings they know they need 10 wickets, but actually if they can hold Essex for a little bit, that's where their biggest chance comes from. I think they don't need to over attack. If they can just buy maybe a maiden somewhere and put pressure on that way, then that is going to bring the wickets, and that's where the pressure will be. But here, anything over the offside is going to be 4 if he can just get some elevation.
What could he take it from Pope?
I mean, you fancy someone like Harry Brook here who'll just be opening up his stance and just trying to angle anything over the offside. And I said, of course, Surrey are trying to get those wickets caught in the infield, but there are gaps there too.
You must have enjoyed watching Harry Brook in that white ball series, Phil.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another day. I have my thoughts on the discourse around Harry Brook, but not for now.
I think this is a wicket that you can find the fielders in, and that's where the pressure's going to come from. If they can just hit good areas, give no width, don't bowl too short would be my advice as well. I think those will get picked off, and that's where you can get hit squarer. So you've got to be bowling fullish without being too full, and then it's very easy to pick those fielders out.
Yeah, the fielders in the ring on the offside just hanging back. Tucked into the leg sides. Pepper wants to, and he'll get to.
Yeah, it's well run. Fielder had to come round onto his throwing arm, and so just gives enough time for Pepper to scamper back. It's the right approach, though, to stay busy and enterprising here. That's his game. That's what's got him to this point.
Topley started really straight to Pepper in particular. And again, offering no width at all.
Of course, Reece Topley is the fastest bowler in his family. His father Don didn't know who to support, a bit like Phil actually, as an Essex fan. Didn't know who to support. Do I support Essex, who he played for, or Surrey, who his son plays for? Of course, he's currently in France with Adrian Brown, and of course he's got those two counties, both Essex and Surrey, and he's got to bring in a third one.
Yeah, Surrey have done well from the Essex pathway system. Reece Topley and Ben Folkes, and obviously Daniel Lawrence as well.
And of course his third county, he's got a son who looks like Roy Kent. So
other fictional hard men are available.
but I know he is watching the stream. He couldn't be bothered to come here tonight, but you'll know Surrey have got a little bit of work to do.
Good start from Reece Topley, just 2 runs from this over so far. In the air. Oh, almost incredibly taken by Jordan Clark. In the end, I think that's gone for 6. It has. But one-handed on the boundary, that came to him so quickly. He got to it, he held it, but he couldn't quite keep his feet inside the playing area.
That would have been a stunner. But all the marginals are going Essex's way. What a snare that is. But yeah, already over the boundary rope.
Surrey's videographer Calvin with the best view in the house there. Stunning piece of work from Jordan Clark.
Yeah, let's hope we can catch that.
Over mid-off. For a second I thought Chris Jordan was in business at mid-off. But Walter picks up another boundary. Runs coming quickly for Essex. The margins are fine. 2 boundaries off back-to-back deliveries, but both not that far.
To be honest, I mean, Reece Topley is pretty unlucky there, because that is a great bit of fielding down there. Any other part of the ground that is out, and a stunning bit of fielding. But that is the shortest part, just towards that JM Finn advertising hoarding.
That boundary from Walter means that Essex require fewer than 100. We're just in the 4th over of this run chase. Walter looking to give himself room again. They've both been very proactive with their footwork, Pepper and Walter.
Yeah, but they can be, because if they create any width with the men being in, then if they can just go over point or backward point, they are going to get full value for their runs. And I said it could get a little bit harder as the ball gets a bit softer.
So throwing it forward to the knockout stages. So if Surrey are in a game where they're batting first, and the opposition do what Essex tried to do today, what Kent tried to do to Surrey in their game here at the Kia Oval a couple of weeks ago, how do you think Surrey should go about things differently with the bat against spin in the middle overs?
I just think when they get bigger boundaries, they're too busy trying to slot that 6 sometimes and trying to hit that big shot, which at something like Chelmsford, which is a smaller ground, will come off. And I think you've just got to understand the percentage of getting that 6 that at times they're taking on. And
Yeah.
We had the same thing here against Kent. Admittedly, I think that's the best 8 overs of spin. I know there's other spin as well, but I think that's the best 8 overs of spin on a wicket that was just holding a little bit, so it wasn't easy. Now, at times like that, you've got to know what the wicket's doing, and that means your sweeps and reverse sweeps become more prevalent rather than trying to hit down the ground. If the wicket was more glass-like and came on better, Dan Lawrence would probably be looking to hit that into the stand.
Slightly short and pulled really hard from Walter. Philippi at deep mid-wicket didn't have loads of ground to cover. It's a long hit, but that raced away to the fence. 4 more for Walter.
Yeah, it's his signature shot, that tall pull.
So during June 2026, the Kia Oval recycled 96% of waste generated at the ground, continuing to do great work with Surrey's long-standing partners, SSE Energy Solutions. Phil.
Yeah, just back to the tall pull, really. There's an uncomplicated, good sense and logic to his technique. It's very transferable as well. He now opens in all forms for Essex, and that is one of his shots because he comes from a particular height. Those hands can come down on the ball, so even though it's rising, he's still taking it off his thigh, no higher than that, so he can get full purchase on it.
Chris Jordan into the attack for the first time. Nudge behind square on the leg side. And again, really good running from Pepper. Decisive early call for 2. And he's home comfortably.
Yeah, just want to stress again what an uneven, topsy-turvy campaign Essex have had. But so much of this tournament, which can undulate, and it's a long one, of course, 12 group games, 8 qualifying from 18 as well, so it can be a bit of a slog to get to this point. But momentum is so much a part of it, and having key players back and available at a certain time. Essex lost their first 2 and lost them comfortably. And I know that there had been some challenges regarding bringing certain players in. Certain budget constraints meant that they only had the one overseas in Simon Harmer. They couldn't find a second to really bed into the team, and so they've had to make do. They've had to wait for Sam Cook to come back. They've had to sit on Jordan Cox as well, who's been unavailable for various reasons. And now they are less than 100 away. A required run rate of just 7 and a bit, less than that, just under 6.
Pepper gives himself some room, manufactures a bit of width, and I think he's cleared the boundary here. Yeah, another 6. He moves on to 25 of just 16, and Essex now 39 without loss.
Yeah, and it's these little details as well. Michael Pepper's had a horror show year, but he's looking like he's enjoying his cricket again now. And as I say, on his day, I mean, he makes T20 hundreds. So Essex will be feeling, if they can just get this done, tie a bow on this game, and then whoever they go to on Wednesday, they'll be fancying it. They just have the right personnel in place at the right time.
And it's not just their performance today. Their most recent fixture against Hampshire, thumping win. Bowled Hampshire out for just 130 at Chelmsford. So 2 potentially back-to-back wins against sides that will feature in the knockout rounds.
Having lost against Middlesex the game before, and Middlesex are struggling, as we know. So it's the nature of this team. They are mercurial by nature, but if you get them on their day, then they're hard to suppress.
Field really set for back of a length bowling. 2 fielders out the leg side boundary, 1 at deep square leg, 1 at long leg. Again, an Essex opener trying to give themselves room, trying to create width. And that is a noticeable difference between this pair and the Surrey top order.
Well, I think the difference is with the Surrey top order, we saw Laurie Evans run himself out early on, and then we saw quite a few wickets go together. So Surrey couldn't really rebuild. I think the wicket's holding a little bit. It's not a bad wicket in any way. It's a touch on the slow side, perhaps, and I think that suits Essex, who have a lesser speed attack. Whereas the quicker bowlers is probably what you want on a wicket like this, and knowing that you're chasing something where Surrey have to take wickets, it's all in Essex's favour.
Single completes Jordan's first over, 10 runs from it. Essex 41 without loss, with 1 over remaining in the power play.
But yes, it's just sort of proactive batting, isn't it? They're trying to give. So you look at the field, you decide where your boundary option is, and all Essex need really is, they don't even need a boundary and over, but if they can get one boundary and over, they will get their 6 and over minimum, and that run rate will come down. It's currently 5.53. It'll keep coming down. If it goes to 5 and 4, then if their wickets in hand, then Surrey are really going to struggle. But they're doing it very well. They're being positive, as you should be in the power play. You can't just try and edge your way over the line. And they're absolutely taking the right option, but there is more pace on show from the Surrey attack than we saw with Essex, and that is suiting Essex to this point.
Sean Abbott on for the first time this evening from the pavilion end.
There's a lot of talk in English cricket about wrist spin and, if you like, the post-Adil Rashid landscape in one-day cricket, and hopefully again not for a little while yet, but the space will free itself up there. And Ryan Ahmed, of course, has been in certain test squads, not got the nod yet this summer to play a home test match, but it's only a matter of time. And Mason Crane doing good bits for Glamorgan, 1 or 2 others around the traps as well. Matt Critchley hardly ever gets discussed in this debate. Just want to add, across these 2 key crunch games for Essex, against Hampshire, as you say, 2 days ago, and now this one, he took 7 for 32. 7 for 32 in 8 overs. And he bats and he scores hundreds. He was the player of the month for the first month of the season. Took 6 for 9 and made 170 just to get his season up and running against Hampshire in 4-day cricket. He's 29 years old. I can't help thinking he should be a part of conversations a little bit more loudly than he is. Anyway, that's my piece said.
Pulled.
Oh,
He's lost it. Tom Laws at fine leg. Lost the ball on its way, so he started running in the wrong direction. So another boundary for Walter and Essex, who are now on 47.
I'm not sure he'd got it anyway, but he did go off in the wrong direction.
He does
As
just
I said,
hit
Surrey,
it clean though, doesn't he? Hits it clean and hard. And again,
this time straight to Laws. To single. A question Phil I've long had about Critchley at Essex. I can't work out if him being at Essex and playing alongside Simon Harmer almost helps or hinders his case to be in the conversation around England more. Because on the one hand, he's bowling with one of the best spinners in the land. On the other hand, I wonder sometimes if he ends up bowling less than his ability should dictate. Certainly in games where, the T20 game for instance, where you might not want to bowl that many overs of spin, for example.
yeah, well, he's got good numbers in red ball cricket with the ball, but you're right, he is in Harmer's slipstream. But I think the final 5 or 6 weeks of the red ball season for Essex will be interesting. They are right in the mix. They're only about a dozen points behind top, and they're outsiders to win the title, but you never know. And at Chelmsford, with this dry summer that we've had, always takes a bit at Chelmsford, and he may yet complete a stunning season individually.
Bowled him. Last ball of the power play. Walter looked to go over the offside, gave himself a bit of room, but Abbott strikes and Surrey claim their first wicket. 49 for 1 at the end of the power play.
Yeah, one they certainly need, and I think they batted very well. I think Paul Walter playing a gem of an innings, but yeah, good start for Essex. But Surrey do need a few wickets, and they need to get them quickly.
Yeah, it's not an absolute flyer, but more than 8 runs and over when you're chasing just 124 is a very, very useful start. That required run rate Just 5.36 runs and over.
Yeah, and he'll be cranky with himself, Paul Walter, because it's all very well making room and engineering shots. And yeah, as you can see on that reaction, he is riled with himself because he's just lost his shape. And for the first time, played a rather ungainly slog. And he had complete control of his game up until then.
Very much like the Josh Felipe dismissal, I felt, just looking to open up and being done a little bit by the ball and then trying to go leg side in the end. But I think he wanted to go offside to start with, but because that room wasn't there, he tried to go leg, but he'd opened up too much.
Unsurprisingly, given how Essex's spinners fared, first sign of spin for Surrey immediately after the power play. Dan Lawrence on his birthday against his former club. Jordan Cox, the new man in, but it'll be Pepper on strike at the start of the 7th over.
Interesting field. If you compare this field to the one that Essex had, with Essex having 2 men behind square on the circle, Surrey have man in the deep, which is surprising, bearing in mind the run rate needed is under 5.5. It does mean that the reverse sweep is on and you're not worried about hitting it straight to the man.
Yeah, that's all he needs to do, really. Just milk it into the onside. Don't need to take any undue risks.
That single brings up the Essex 50 of 6.3 overs. 2 right-handers in the middle at the moment, but a very different field for Jordan Cox. Mid-off goes back. Lawrence, though, continuing with this angle from around the wicket. It's been a strange season, Phil, for Jordan Cox so far.
I was just thinking exactly the same thing. And yet, he has that precious test cap now in his back pocket. He sat on the bench in the IPL. Not sure he had a hit at all. No, not one hit. It would have been useful for his wallet, but not necessarily his career. Nonetheless, he arrives back in England, strolls out at number 4 against Leicestershire, and makes a double 100 with as much dominance as you can possibly see at this level. Even from the first ball, and I watched the whole innings, the first ball, he literally just strolled down the track, two steps, and punched it for 4 past mid-off. And he was already 80 not out before you even noticed. And it was that kind of innings, really. And there was that sense that that level is not his level, that there is somewhere else to go with Jordan Cox. He's not talked about that much, but I have a feeling that if he were to get a good run in any of the England lineups, I'm interested in particular in the Test lineup in the fullness of time. I think there's a very, very good international player in there.
I think he's in a fascinating juncture in his own career, in that he's someone who is on the cusp of being in the England team across formats, but isn't in the England 11 in any of them at the moment. And obviously with the news today, the England Test side is going to go in a different direction. So Jordan Cox's place in all the various hierarchies could change quite quickly over the next 6 months.
When he's really good, there are echoes of de Villiers in how he plays. Low hands, wristy, a real crispness to his shot making, and he's creative as well. Go back to that run chase actually here in the Invincibles game last year in the 100, and he was just sensational. 80 odd in about 35 balls, under pressure here, big crowd, trying to make his name. When he's on it, he's the real deal.
Cut away for 4. Really well timed and placed by Pepper. Behind square. Moves on to 34.
Look, I think he's a fantastic player, Jordan Cox. But I have to say, when you get 200 against Leicester, how do you compare that to a Test attack, which, we saw here, a lot of runs. I think Ben Folkes was quicker than most of them for the 2 overs, and we haven't seen him since, I know. But so it's difficult to compare that to Test cricket. But
I totally agree, of course. Oh, it's gone all the way.
What a shot from Pepper. Again, off the middle of the bat. And he struggled for form at times in 2026, but he's timing his run in the blast perfectly. 40 not out of just 26 deliveries.
Just going back to that, and I think that phrase actually sums it up. He timed his move, did Jordan Cox. There was a lot of eyes on him going into that game because he hadn't played any cricket for 2 months. Become the forgotten man. He was also playing against Rana and Ahmed in that game. And they were both in the Test squad, both named in that Test squad. And so there was that feeling that if he could get on top of Rana and Ahmed, then it pushed his claims. And he was totally dominant, completely dominant. I mean, he was playing a different game to everybody else. And sure, it's against a medium pace attack, and day one against the leg spinner, you'd expect to be on top. Nonetheless, considering the build-up, that being his first run-out all year, that was a real statement knock. Just as we acknowledged Jamie Smith's start in April. Might have been against an attack that doesn't look necessarily Test class, but the eyes of the public are on you because you need runs behind you.
But Jamie Smith's 100 looked effortless, didn't it? And that again was against Leicester.
As did Cox's, for sure. But yeah, you're right, of course.
I think it's more interesting if you zoom out with Cox. Since he moved to Essex, he averages 68 in the Championship over now 3 seasons, 820 games. There's not really been many players who've dominated Division 1 like that in recent years for such a long time.
Yeah, and it's a good point of comparison because there's some very, very good young cricketers who are sniffing around that England side, and 1 or 2 have even got the nod. And you think of James Roux, for whom there was a huge clamour to get him into the Test side, and he did get the nod for the Oval game. But his numbers don't compare to Cox's numbers, and an average around 45 in first-class cricket in England is very good. But it doesn't necessarily make you elite. But Cox's numbers, comparatively, they are a class apart for that cohort of players that are looking at the Test team and wondering how they can get their way into it.
I think actually the way in the 100 how he adapted to the short ball and used it as a strength, it just shows how he can change and improve. And what was a weakness, he suddenly turned into a strength. And when it would have been on everyone's whiteboard, this is how we're going to play. And certainly in the 100, that would have been on the opposition whiteboard. Right, we've got to stick it up his nose. And basically he was putting it for 4 and 6. And the innings that he played with Sam Curran here was just very special.
Yeah.
Admittedly, the bowling side didn't have a plan B. Let's keep bowling short, but he kept panning it.
He's got a bit of arrogance as well.
Yeah, but he's got a very, very high ceiling. I think he's an exceptional player. And when gaps appear, he will be the one to fill them. I thought against New Zealand as well. I thought he played quite well.
Yeah,
I think Roux looks a very good player, but I think he's going to be targeted with the short ball quite a lot. It doesn't mean he can't play that well, but it's something that he needs to adapt to and see more of. Whereas I would say that Jordan Cox in that department is probably a better player of that ball, which you would have said 2 years ago against New Zealand, which is I think where he was got out with the short ball. I think he's improved in it, and I think he's ahead of Roux in that regard.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think his 100 form is interesting as well, because when you look at the leading run scorers in the 100, they're pretty much all established international cricketers. And Cox almost stands out in that list consistently as being the player who hasn't really had a proper go in international cricket. And on his place in the pecking order in the Test team, I think it was significant that he started the summer behind James Roux as a squad spare batter, and then after the Oval Test match, he was the one retained for the Trent Bridge Test in the squad.
I mean, I met him 3 years ago at Wormsley, and Matt Walker introduced me to him and just said this kid is the next best thing. And Matt's, an exceptionally good judge of a player, and he's got a long way to go in his career, and I think he'll have an exceptionally good one.
Appeal for LEW. Not given. But it ends another quiet over from Dan Lawrence. 5 runs off it. Essex 67 for 1.
So if the wicket come finals day, imagine Surrey don't win this, they get an away draw, they win, they get to the finals day. The wicket is slow and a bit holding. Does Dan Lawrence as the only spin option, is that against Surrey in the finals day?
It's certainly
depending on the wicket.
It's certainly a point of comparison here. Essex can call upon 3 slow bowlers, 2 leggies and an off-break bowler. And you did feel like their attack is better suited to these kinds of conditions than Surrey's is. Obviously, Majid, the left-arm spinner, has played a bit here and there. He may come into the squad should they get to finals day, you'd fancy. But it is an area that some teams do have the mark on Surrey in the slow bowling department. And again, play on the same track across a finals day. By the evening it can get a bit sluggish. Pace often is the way.
Just one. Laws into the attack from the pavilion end, probably having his best season in the Blast so far in his young career. His first real consistent run in the team. Very difficult white ball team to get into.
Difficult job on his hands as well, because every singler is going to bring the run rate down, isn't it? And there are lots of singles to be had as a batsman behind square. Anything on the leg side is going to pick up that, and potentially 2, depending on if you don't hit it too well.
Well, normally in T20 cricket, if you're the fielding side, 1 is a pretty good result. Not so at the moment, though, for Surrey. Well, that's very, very short. And Pepper just guides that over Jordan Clark at short third for 4. Jordan Cox is asking the square leg umpire, are we giving anything here? Have a look at the replay. This is very short. Certainly would have been called wide had Pepper. Yeah, in the end, inside edge. Quite fortunate that just balloons over Jordan Clark's head. That single takes Pepper to 47.
Pass score of 50 and Essex are 23 ahead of that, and the run rate now below 5.
Yeah, he's got a cigar on at this point. As Jordan Cox, he's not played a shot in anger. Just ambled a single into the onside from basically every delivery he's faced so far. Just 50 to win now. This tournament's come at a good time for Michael Pepper. Highest score of 32 across 8 championship games this year. But this is the format where he really excels, and this is just on the edge now of a third 50 in the tournament.
7 runs from Tom Laws' first over. Essex 74 for 1 at the halfway point, just requiring another 50 to secure quarter-final qualification.
It's funny how that works though, Phil. When you're in different competitions, you can have pressure in that competition. When you say in the championship it's top scores 32, that builds pressure. You know you're under pressure, you know you haven't scored enough, yet you go into another format, it's totally different. You're the same player, but mentally you're thinking, actually, this is where I can free up.
And you're starting from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you always take the positive option. Sometimes in the championship, when you haven't got those runs, you're afraid to take those positive options.
Surrey are turning to Tom Curran for his second over to kick off the second half of this run chase. Just 50 needed. It should be a procession. But you never know with these games. A couple of quick ones and then the pressure shifts a bit. Massive jeopardy for Essex. Punch down the ground for another easy onside single for Cox.
It's the problem with this field, isn't it? There are singles everywhere, and you can even chew a dot ball, and you're still you get 5 off the over. You're actually going to bring the run rate down.
Yeah, still a very conventional mid-innings T20 field. This just 4 fielders in the ring, so plenty of single taking opportunities for this Essex pair.
He's got away with that one. Not sure Michael Pepper agrees.
You can't believe it.
Not sure I do either, but no matter. So Surrey have already tried 7 bowlers inside these first 10 overs. Only the one slow bowler among them. Tom Curran just slipping over in his delivery stride, but no damage done.
Well, trying to create some rough for Dan Lawrence, I think, when he comes on the other end. It's got to that stage.
Yeah, it's a shame for the patrons that as it stands, Surrey look like they'll be hitting the road on Wednesday evening rather than hosting one here.
Just some information from the back of the box, Phil, that fans won't know, we won't know during this game who Surrey's likely opponents or confirmed opponents are in the quarterfinals. So check out the Surrey social media handles for information. We should get news of Surrey's opponents and Essex's opponents, of course, this evening, but probably not while this game is going on.
Northants?
Another game going on, of course. Somerset playing as well this evening, and so just these last 2 to complete the formalities. Well run again. It's been a feature. Just dropping it into the onside, scampering through 38 balls for his 3rd 50 of the tournament this year. A player reborn after his travails with the red ball, and he's back in good nick here. Just the right time for Essex as well. They are dangerous players. Perhaps they're lacking a little bit of muscle in that middle order at 6 and 7, but if they can get their opener, Michael Pepper, going again, then they have a 1, 2, 3, 4 that is as dangerous as it comes. Just 43 needed now. Not many would have given them a chance going into that game against high-flying Hampshire 2 days ago, knowing that they had to come to the Kia Oval on Sunday evening.
So with me here, I have a magnum of Pommery champagne for a Surrey super fan of the day. Who deserves it? Who deserves this magnum of Pommery champagne? Who's been the best super fan? Wow, look at that guy over there. We've got to make a decision. Surrey needs your support.
We wait with bated breath. Chris Jordan it will be then. Into his 2nd over, 81 for 1 Essex. They need something special here for Surrey if the momentum of this game is going to shift One of those legendary overs of which he's delivered so many over time. That's driven into the covers and Tidley, I think, will be cut off, but they'll come back for a couple.
I wonder if this game was held earlier on in the group stage. Essex, at this point in the innings, might have batted with a little bit more impetus, bringing net run rate into their equation. But the equation is so simple for them today. They just have to win. So you've seen it with Cox in particular. He's someone who's not had loads of time in the middle of the last few months. I think he's just enjoying himself out there. He knows that if he's there at the end of the game, Essex win the game.
He is allowed the opportunity to bat. I mean, it's a nice time to come in, isn't it? 4.64 is the required rate. You know, just by playing, you'll go at 5s or 6s purely because there'll be singles everywhere, or you know, you'll get your boundary because Surrey still need wickets if they're going to have a chance. Of course, they're massive second favourites. But yeah, it's a nice time just to be able to play, and they don't want to lose. You know, why take the risk of losing 2 or 3 quick wickets by trying to be expansive? Look what happened to England here against India last year. You know, when you think, oh, the game's done, you know, they're doing it the right way.
I was watching the highlights of that run chase last week, funnily enough, and it still staggers me that England somehow managed to cock it up. 80 odd they needed, in less than that, 70 something they needed, 7 wickets in hand. Bethel in the hutch, Jamie Smith in the hutch, and yeah, the rest is history. So there's an inexplicable. Well, is it sun on?
Yeah, I think it is.
Sun reflected onto the glass. Yes. So Michael Pepper pulled away just as Jordan was about to release it, and now cricket is doing its eccentric, absurdist thing for you. That's it. Jim Troughton making sure he lands the towel at just the right spot, and then we can resume.
It's like an act on Britain's Got Talent, isn't it?
This is impressive.
We did used to have many years ago, before that stand went up, at midday there used to be a dome behind the stand, and at midday the sun used to hit it and come straight down the wicket when we were on the wickets where roughly the 30-yard circle were, and we had to go off for half an hour. That was going back some time, and so before.
We've got another one. Sorry, Ali, we've got a fourth towel. Why stop there, chaps?
Oh, I love cricket so much.
It's also it's a wide mid-off on the angle to the bat. So our producer Jake points out it's wash day. Yeah, it's a long, hard season. You've got to squeeze it in when you can.
Same thing happened at Old Trafford, actually, which is why they actually changed the
they changed the
pitch around 90 degrees.
Round, yeah.
We were off for sun and rain in that game.
You always lose a bit of time at Chesterfield, always off the windscreens of the cars. Anyway, we're back. And Pepper going about his business very tidily indeed.
I'm just wondering if the support staff up there will just need to move the towels on as the over plays out, because obviously the sun moves.
Well, the earth moves. But yeah.
Is that Darryl, the dressing room attendant, there as well? Do we know?
Yes, that was the great man, yeah. He's seen it all before. One of the legends of this place. That's the only aggressive shot that Jordan Cox has played. He just hasn't needed to. So where are we at? How many we've got? I've got 5 now. Let's complete the over. Can they get out of the over with one more black towel? Tell you what, Jim Troughton's guns are looking impressive though. He's had a good summer. another single there. Easy pickings now. Played so well here.
There's Daryl there on the right. He actually, when I was second 11 coach here, he did get some mugs made up with caricatures of the coaching staff. Sadly, he got mine mixed up with his face. And I actually, when it came back, it said Lordy, and it was a caricature of him. And I said, Daryl, I think this is you. And he tried to convince me it was him, and I'll show it to you at the end of the game.
Okay.
He got Alex Stewart right, and I think he got, I can't remember the other two.
As long
but
as he got the big man right,
yeah,
that's okay.
he got me as him.
Airborne, but nobody behind square. Firing the man on the 45. So this is a cruise now, a walk in the park.
He's also famed for washing the players' kit. And he accidentally, there he is, the big man, or the small man, he washed Sam Curran's woolen jumper. And because what he does is sometimes he just washes it and you don't even ask for it. But he's exceptionally good at it. But unfortunately put the wool on the hot wash.
We've all done it.
Yeah. And Sam had a crop top.
Was he forced to put it on anyway?
Yep.
Yeah, of course
I've
he
got
was.
evidence.
No, you can keep that to yourself, thanks. Jordan then in again. Last delivery of his second. And it will finish with a dot. 87 for one though. Essex in total cruise control here. They played just about the perfect game. Under pressure, they've gone back to back here, assuming that this plays out. Clutch wins against Hampshire and on the verge of getting it done here against the other big name in the division. Yeah, now Alistair is showing me, and he's not wrong. That's a deeply unsettling image he's just showed us.
I reckon we can probably get that on screen if we really tried.
Yeah, that's not you.
Do have some evidence of his washing.
Oh, please, that's lovely. So
Okay.
here we go. Here is Sam Curran, aged 7, by the looks of it. If you can catch that on the camera. There you go. But that is a grown man, believe it or not. Oh, that way. And there you go. There you go. That is, yeah. I would say it's an interpretation of you, Ali, at best.
Very dangerous game, swiping someone's photos live on air.
When you went right there, you swiped right. That was for one of the West Ham defenders of the past. Kurt Zuma.
Oh, my word.
That's
How
crisp.
about that? We haven't had too many shots that are going to stick in the memory tonight, in truth. But that is one of them. He sat on his bat all evening, Jordan Cox. And it's almost like he said to himself, right, wherever this one is, I'm just going to stick it out the ground. It was a perfectly legitimate, decent delivery by Tom Laws. He's been pumped over mid-wicket, 85, 90 metres. Barely anything on the shot either. Just stood there, a little flick of the wrists, and away it goes.
It's amazing how much power he was able to generate from such minimal movement.
Yeah.
It's a big hit to that side of the ground, to both sides of the ground square this evening.
Oh, it's well bowled though. He's got him this time. Brilliantly done. Tom Laws has the last laugh. That's class. So Jordan Cox goes for 16 from 15 deliveries. Outfoxed. Tom Laws picks him up with a beautifully disguised slowie. Too little too late, you fancy, for the home side, but one to stick in the back pocket nonetheless for Tom Laws.
Now, heading into the knockouts next week, there are so many subplots, and Tom Laws is having a quietly very effective season with the ball for Surrey in the Blast. It's his 10th wicket of the campaign, second Surrey player to get to double figures. And as I said earlier, it's a difficult attack to get into, and Laws is going really well at the moment.
Yeah, it was really well disguised in the action, wasn't it? Absolutely no indication at all. No tells or shows or clues given. So
I guess when
Cox
you're
goes.
working with Jade Dernbach, who had a very good slower ball. Tom Curran the same. It's a bit quicker than Sam Curran's slower ball.
Well, one of his the other day, I think it was 46 mph.
He was appealing for LWW actually, just was it the other day, and you just wondered why. Would it have knocked the bails off? But you quite like the way he's evolving as a one-day finisher with the ball.
So new man Charlie Allison, just 31 needed. He's had a good campaign. Came into the side having spent a bit of time with England Lions. Came into the side and hit straps immediately. He simmered a bit in championship cricket as Allison. He's played a couple of eye-catching knocks, but not made 100 this year. But another very fine player. Announced himself, we were doing it Yas last year. Picked up a duck in the first innings here in the championship game and made a fabulous 100 in the third innings of that one. To really get his championship record up and running, then peel off a couple more in the second half of the season.
He's probably the leading light in the next generation of homegrown Essex talent, and it must be quite a cool thing for a county like Essex to be getting into the knockout stages of the Blast, but with 4 homegrown youngsters in the team. End of the over 7 from it. Essex 94 for 2, not just Allison, but Luke Benkenstein, Noah Thane, and Charlie Bennett, who I thought was very impressive with the ball too.
Yep. Pepper and Walter as well. Homegrown players, Sam Cook as well, of course. So 7 of this 11 have all come through the system since they were kids. And for a club that does not have immense amounts of money in the coffers, that is the way that you keep punching above your weight. They are a model for clubs of their size. So what will Surrey be looking to sharpen up in, Alistair, ahead of the quarter-final? What are the areas that they can be working on, do you think, and talking about?
Well, I think it depends on the size of the ground of the away game that they're going to. I think if it's a smaller ground, I think that suits them. I think wherever they go, they'll probably try and prepare some sort of slowish turning wicket, because a majority of the Surrey bowlers are pacier than most. But I mean, on any given day, they could beat anyone on the day, and ultimately, they're not really going to win this one, but they've got to win 3 on the trot. They're capable of that. So they should have won the quarter-final last year, but I think they just felt that Ravi Bopara would get out at some stage, and rather than get him off strike, I think that was where they fell short on that occasion. But Northants could be where they're heading.
Yeah, we'll know for sure by the end of the evening whether we get full confirmation of the last 8 lineup before we go off air. We'll have to wait and see. But it does come round quick. All 4 games taking place concurrently on Wednesday before a certain football match. I've been told. I don't know if that's been officially announced yet, but that's what I've been informed. And then a huge finals day. Slightly uppish, but on the bounce, no damage done. Huge finals day at the right time of the year as well. Definitely a better, more contained and compressed tournament this year. And so you feel like the energy doesn't dissipate and you can carry it through the knockouts into the finals day, and it's all of a piece. It was a little bit too broken up last year. And so all eyes will be on what continues to be the jewel in the crown of county cricket. And it really is anyone's as well. Been some Some teams that have really pushed through. You mentioned Northants have been superb. Hampshire have been very good, of course. One of the 3 teams to get through to the quarters from that South group, assuming Essex don't mess it up from here.
So it's looking like Hampshire will top the Southern group. Northants can't be topped, can they? I don't think. In their group.
Correct.
Not top the North group. No, it's clearly a more sensible way of doing things, having the knockout stage immediately after the group stage. But we have lost my favourite week of the calendar, quarter-finals week. Now, all 4 quarter-finals are going to be played at the same time, we believe, on Wednesday. But I think that the quarter-finals of the Blast is one of the most watchable and engaging weeks in the English, not just domestic calendar, overall summer of cricket, because it's incredibly meaningful cricket played in front of fans that are so invested in what's happening. So when you're watching it, not just in the ground but at home, it almost makes you want to watch the game more. And I think it's a shame that we're losing that this year. I've actually long thought that should be on free-to-air TV. If you're going to be selective of what cricket is on free-to-air TV, I think people get engaged when they see other people engage, and that's one of the best weeks that we've got.
.28 needed. Down. Came quickly. But Jordan is as good a fielder anywhere as there is in the game. He would have fancied to have nabbed that. So hard off your own bowling. You've got to judge it so quickly. You've got to get a sense of the pace and the flight path. Ricocheted into his finger.
Wrist, wasn't it?
Yeah, it may have
Bottom
been a
of the
wrist.
You didn't see him drop very many, but that's come back at him quite hard. I think there'll be some Surrey fans glad that hit the bottom of the wrist rather than the finger as he was looking at it, because the quarter-final and finals day come pretty thick and fast.
Yeah, and he's a key man. He still bowls basically the same pace that he's bowled throughout his career. Best part of 20 years on since his debut. What a cricketer. Picked up in the space, gone for 4. So 1 bounce into the hoardings. Essex's 100 is up. Pepper into the 60s. And this game is almost done, bar the shouting. Almost the perfect game here for the visitors.
Just 24 more runs to get for Essex, and Pepper's been really impressive. Inventive and creative with his footwork in the power play, and in the last 8 or so overs, just managed the game so well. There have been singles there for the taking, and more often than not, he's happily taken them.
He's gone high, he's cleared mid-on, just plugs back for a couple. So Pepper's not hanging around here.
Well, they're doing
22 needed now.
They're doing it the right way, aren't they? I mean, they're getting it to 4s now. They haven't really had to get out of second gear. We said Surrey probably 30 to 40 under par, and they're making it look really quite easy. They don't have to take any risk, but the risk that they're taking is good risk.
Short, hammered straight to the man, 1 bounce. He's hitting it clean now.
On ground preparation for the quarterfinals, Ali, is there even enough time for the ground staff to prepare wickets in a certain way, depending on who their opposition is?
I don't think sides will. I just feel that this wicket is one that suits more of a medium pace, that you have to hit on. And I think Surrey have come out, and of course they have to look for wickets, so they have to be aggressive. with fielders in place for that, and that's made it easy for Essex once they know what they're chasing. I don't think if they end up playing Hampshire or Northants, I don't think they'd be second favourites. I'm not saying they'll be favourites, but I'm saying those games could be quite even, and it's up for the players. They've got a very skillful side. They haven't come to the party today, but you wouldn't swap this group of players. You would say perhaps, in terms of spin, other sides have more spinners in their side on wickets that are slower, but on what they've got, if they got Hampshire or a Northants, I think they wouldn't be upset with those draws.
Yeah, Jordan, not happy with that call. It looked to the naked eye like it just crept inside the tram lines, but he will nonetheless have to bowl that again. Oh, it's a tight one. Does the line belong to the umpire, Yas?
I don't know. I was just thinking that.
I think the left of the line does.
Right, okay, there you go. Got a scamper. Gets home comfortably. So the crowd have been quite quiet and subdued, really, across the evening. It's one of those balmy Sunday nights. One or two heavy heads from last night's shenanigans, no doubt, out there in the bleachers as well. For any Essex fans in the ground, they'll be absolutely cock-a-hoop. But for Surrey, there is that sense of this being a dress rehearsal for the big stuff coming on Wednesday. Still go through the motions, of course, ring the changes. Sean Abbott now from the pavilion end, but you can't quite shake that sense that they are girding the loins for what's to come. Big week for Surrey in this competition. It remains a remarkable detail, really, that they've won it just the once in that first inaugural year, 2003. Got close a few times. Just shows how hard it is to win. It has its detractors at times who look at the Vitality Blast and question certain elements of it, especially in the era of the 100, but this is the jewel in the crown of English cricket, no two ways about it. It's a big week coming up, and some mouth-watering ties as well to look forward to.
Slight change in the field. An extra man in the ring now to Allison, who's 3 off 8.
Right, first slip would have fancied that, but we're long gone. So it does run away for 4. False shot by Charlie Allison, but no matter. Essex now just down to 13.
There is a caveat for Surrey. I mean, they do lose probably 3 of their best one-day players, don't they, to the ODI side? So you lose Jacks, Curran, and Jamie Smith, and you kind of feel, well, that they still got a very good squad, but if they were able to slip those in on finals day, that makes them probably favourites in most games they play, but they can't.
Yeah, it's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. Beautifully played into the onside. Again, it's that front foot pull. You saw it with Paul Walter, you saw it with Jordan Cox, and now you're seeing it with the immensely talented Charlie Allison. He has, just as with Cox, just that touch of class that gets you up, gets you out of your seat. I may have mentioned I rate him once or twice.
Once or twice on the stream.
Yeah, no more than that. You know me.
It's uncanny, though, the stylistic similarities between Allison and Cox.
Yep, totally.
I know that we've talked about it before and wondered, is it partly that they share a bat sponsor? But
low hands,
yeah.
wristy, crouched, and then kind of explode into the shot. There's a stillness to it as well when they attack.
I think the crouch is actually quite important. How you actually to get your power. It's not just about swinging with your arms. I used to find as low as you could get powers you up with your core and legs.
Do you remember when Liam Livingston hit that enormous sixer Headingley?
Yeah.
Into the rugby ground.
Yep.
I was speaking to someone who spoke to a golf swing expert, and they were saying that the physical attributes that help golfers hit the ball further isn't what you might necessarily think. So with Livingston, the thing that this guy identified was the speed of his hip rotation is unusually quick, and that enables him to get as much power as he does. So it's not always big biceps.
No. I mean, sometimes in T20, the harder you swing, the worse you hit it, because you just lose that sort of that chain, if you like, as it goes through. But you're quite right. It's getting that core coming through, loading up with a good base, and if you can marry that with good hands, then that's when you get the bombs that end up going deep in the crowd.
So the winner of the Pomeroy Magnum Champagne is this gentleman here who's been with us all day. Well done seeing both of the games. Congratulations. There we are. Well done. Super Surrey fan.
Talking of hitting bombs, Alistair, a few years ago, I don't know if you remember this, but I was working for a magazine and we used to do a gear test, and we'd invite certain ex-pros along to have a hit and check out the new bats on the market. You were one of those ex-pros, and alongside you that day we had Graham Hick and Mark Ramprakash and one or two others. And I'd been doing this gig for quite a few years, and normally the ex-players, they'll play along and they'll drill a few half volleys back to you and they'll say, all right, this is a decent one, or that's not for me. You were terrifying, and standing 8 yards away, like donkey dropping little half volleys to you, when you were only a couple of years out of the game as well, right? Still had a point to prove. Yeah, that was a terrifying experience. You needed to be feeding it from behind a cage for your own safety.
To be fair, I mean those.
To be fair, you were absolutely mullering it.
Those
Every
testing
shot.
days, but if you're going to test something, I wanted to test how it would go. I was going high every time.
Yeah, sometimes at head height though. Not to me personally, but to some of the lads that we'd got in as feeders. Some of them on work experience. You know? I guess you're testing out their own metal at the same time. But yeah.
I remember one bat. I really liked one of the bats one of the years I did it, and I actually said, right, I would pay for this bat. So I said, look, let me know what it is. I want to like to speak to the sponsors. I'd like to walk away with this one. And they said, yeah, okay, they'd be prepared to do that. I said, okay, well, just tell me what you think it's worth, and I would buy it off you. And we kind of agreed that was going to be the case. And when I went to go and get it,
Shot, by the way. That will run away for 4 more.
It had disappeared, and it had ended up, as it turns out, in O.A. Shah's bag.
I was going to say this.
Yep.
I know the bat of which you
Yeah.
speak. Yes, it was a gun bat.
Yep.
Yeah, and O.A. rather... Well, he pulled rank on that one, I'm afraid.
I don't think he put in a bid. I was trying to do it the right way. I think he was like...
It was more on the theft side.
Yes.
Yeah. But no, he walked away with a bat under his arm, and he wasn't taking no for an answer on that one, let's put it that way. Anyway, Mike Pepper into the 70s, Essex almost there.
What does almost into the theft side mean? What sort of that is that like?
Well, it might
shoplifter
be a
gives it back?
transaction,
Yeah.
or an agreement, or
Yeah.
a barter, or theft, and I think more along that side of the ledger. But anyway, Surrey bring up deep cover to squeeze the single. Only one needed, and that might be it. You know, it is. It's a rather ignominious end for Surrey's evening. It's not worked out for them at all. Lost the toss, out there early, fell over in a heap really, 123 all out, and Essex have got it done just for 2. with 19 deliveries still left. That's a shellacking, really. And from a position of having to play desperate cricket 3 days ago, Essex have now got it done. Hampshire bested, Surrey turned over. Essex will join Surrey in the quarter-final lineup. We will hope to bring you the official confirmation of the fixtures themselves by the end of the show. If not, we might be able to talk about it on Oval and Out, the podcast that is on its way in due course. But the story here from the Kia Oval, it's all about the visitors. They are a mercurial team. You don't quite know which version you're going to see from one game to the next, but when they do turn up, they've got real class, variety in their attack, and some brilliance in that top four, as we've seen this evening. Yas Rana?
Well, 2 emphatic wins in just a couple of days for Essex against the 2 other sides in the South Group are going to be in the knockouts. Hampshire bowled them out for 130, got home comfortably. Surrey today bowled out for 123, they got home comfortably. They won the game pretty much in the first half of the game. Matt Critchley was outstanding with the ball. And then in the run chase, as soon as Paul Walter and Michael Pepper, who finishes 71 not out, started as they did, 49 without loss after 5.5 overs, they strolled home from there.
Yeah, look, I think one of the sides needed a win to make the quarterfinals, and the other one didn't. A needless run out at the start put pressure on. I thought the spinners bowled brilliantly in tandem, and I think that was the difference. So you had pressure coming from both ends. Some needless wickets, you could say, in the middle, where I think Surrey were looking to go at 5th gear when probably 3rd would have done, but they ended up 30-35 short, and so in the game itself was really over at the halfway stage. Surrey needed a lot. They couldn't get those early wickets, and Essex, I think, would be a danger to all. I think if they play like that, they've got a nice balanced team. I think they played well, and they were too good for Surrey today.
Yeah, brief run through the card, as Ali says. That run out of Evans up top did really get Surrey on the back foot early doors. Useful partnership between Roy and Felipe, but Critchley came into the attack, took 3 for 16, cleaned up Felipe, and then undid Dan Lawrence with a beauty. 3 for 16, Critchley, that is 7 for 32, by the way, across his last 2 games in 2 must-winners for Essex. Surrey rang the changes, but they were always up against it, defending just 123. So there you have it. It's been one of those evenings, really, for Surrey. There are bigger battles ahead. We will be bringing you on Surrey Socials tonight confirmation of the final 8 and all of those quarter-final fixtures, where Essex are travelling to, where Surrey are travelling to. All of that is to come on Wednesday evening. All of those games to be played concurrently, and then of course finals day on Saturday this week. So there you have it. Not Surrey's night. Essex have been brilliant. They've played desperate cricket for the last 2 games, and they've done it superbly. Whoever they come up against will not fancy it. And for Surrey, well, they'll lick their wounds, they'll move on, and tomorrow is another day. Thanks ever so much for joining us, for sticking with it. Thanks to Ali, of course, and to Yas and our team. I've been Phil Walker, and we will be back before you know it.